Running a little bit behind, but always ready to go. Okay, hold on. All right, hold on. Just checking on. Okay. Oh my God. Good morning. Okay. Hold on. I have like 30,000 things on my mind, so I'm a little I'm discombobulated. Hold on, I'm thinking about too many things at once. Here's what I want to do. First, good morning. Dobar dan. I hope you're having a good day. I hope everything is good. Yeah, I'm frazzled. I'm frazzled, chat. I'm frazzled. Mostly because we're, getting ready for the summer. We're trying to enjoy our outdoor space, but we're running into problems with bats. So we're trying to contact bat associations to help us figure out what to do, because their droppings can be poisonous to both cats and humans. And there's a lot of bats. One almost ran into my head the other day. I was walking. We were coming back from the store, and it went right over our heads. And I was like, bats are cute and everything. Like, don't get me wrong. But I'm such a, I love being outside. I just don't want to carry the bat droppings into the house or get Indiana sick, because, she's been so sick lately, and we were wondering, like, oh gosh, is it that, And then we love having her outside with us, but she rolls around the whole balcony and takes a dust bath, and then we're like, oh, is that making her sick? So we're trying to figure it out before we try to make our outdoor space like seatable. And so we're debating what to do. Apparently, we're definitely not the only ones. Like, a lot of people are dealing with them. It's weird, huh? Like, we have to build community with animals, all animals, human animals, non-human animals. And so that's why I'm frazzled, because my partner was just like updating me on where we're at with that. And I was thinking about it really hard. And then, I came on stream, but here I am. Camp membership for 30 months. Oh my gosh, we have like a 3-year-old together. Oh my God. There's a ton of Croatian football fans in Dallas, Texas. They've been having a good time. Oh my gosh, because of the World Cup. That's pretty cute. Honestly, I've really been enjoying the Europeans go to Costco for the first time videos. Like, I do think they're kind of funny. Like, I do think those things, because everything's a culture shock, right? Just as maybe a screen, like the drapes the entire balcony. We're looking at it. Of course, we're renting, so we're going to talk to the landlord to see if he's willing to install anything. But I don't know what the building will allow. I don't know what our neighbors will allow. I don't know. Who knows? Because we live Croatia's apartment buildings, so everything's like very, you have a lot of neighbors and a lot of rules. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But either way, let's start off this beautiful morning with, this is Monet, and who's the second person? Sorry. Beard of the Ball. It says singing with Monet. And I thought this would be a nice little Pride celebration video. I also love opera. I do love l'opera. I love it. And I just thought that was so cute. So yay for opera, Beard of the Ball and Monet singing together. Love that. Okay, this is, everyone who says trans men don't get enough love, so I thought I'd show some love. This is, I think is it Mekadis or Mech? I'm saying Mekadis. I don't know how to say his name, but here we go.
I know that I ain't crazy, thinking that you're pretty, loving you with easy. You don't know it. And quick check my bones, pumping blood. I can't make this stop. Feel my heart acting up. You make my heart start acting up, acting up.
And then this is his single. This is the single. I think it's called "I'm Your Boy" or something. This one's like going around.
Oh, no, I know I'm the girl you want, but I might just be your boy. Can I be the boy you want? No, I wish I could hold your hand, but when I do, it just don't make me feel like the boy I am. No.
Makes me feel like the boy I am when I hold your hand. Okay, so anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and link the TikTok. Here we go. Some music for you. Can you believe there are people who don't listen to music? Pfft, crazy. Okay, this is a cute video. This gentleman here does a lot of like printing press stuff, and I just thought this was like a cute little for Pride Month video.
June is Pride Month. We've been doing a variety of subjects. And this one here shows a engraving of what the original City Hall and Waterworks building looked like.
Look at all this
Come
labor.
visit the Sacramento History Museum.
Look at all this labor that goes into things, you know? Like this is the, you know, it's almost like you go, it's like this fantasy of everything feels so convenient. Let me go back to how they do it in the old ways. And then it feels like you're more in tune or more together. But then of course the labor that goes into doing this all by hand doesn't make sense because of the wages you're making. So then you bring in the Industrial Revolution and then everything gets sort of like the way that it is. And so it's so interesting the way we have these conversations about like being grateful for the ways that things are so much easier and also wanting to ground yourself in doing things kind of a slow way. And it's just, I don't know, I really liked that video. I really liked that, you know what I mean? Thank you, Chat says your earrings are super pretty today. Inspired by Mia. You know who she is. I wear a lot of her earrings. She actually sent these ones to me as like a gift, which I appreciate so much. Inspired by Mia. I follow her on Instagram. She's always at farmers markets. She's always selling her earrings. I love her earrings, so highly recommend. Okay, this came across my feed. Let's talk about non-human animals and gender.
Ask her if she identified as a male or a female, but maybe she corresponds with what we would call a trans person in human society. We primatologists, we like the typical male and the typical female, and we will talk about them and say males do this and females do that. And we ignore what is between them. They are also subject to all sorts of influences, including their society, where males act this way and females act that way. And so they're influenced by their environment too, and in that sense they also have gender. It's actually quite common to find females who have masculine traits. And the best known case for me is a female named Donna that we had at the Yerkes Primate Center, who I knew since she was 3 years old. She was a little baby. And already at that age, she wanted to wrestle with me. She loved wrestling, which is unusual for young females. And then when she grew older, she grew big shoulders and a big head. And she started to look like a male. And she started to act like a male. And she associated with the males more than with the females. You would think that maybe they would reject her, but she was extremely well accepted. So that's an example of an individual who crossed the binary, so to speak. And I cannot ask her if she identified as a male or a female, but maybe she corresponds with what we would call a trans person in human society. Variability is basically what the natural world is about. Problem is that in human society, we don't always know how to handle these differences, and we don't always accept all the differences. Because we are a linguistic species, we try to put things in boxes and give it labels. But it makes us pigeonhole things. I think it contributes sometimes to intolerance because it means that individuals who fall between the boxes that we cannot categorize very easily, we have trouble with that. And I
Oh, isn't that such a great video? You know what I mean? We really are just like animals on a planet having all of these experiences. And I just think it's so important to remember that. And just going back down to the foundation of why I do what I do, it's because I genuinely think we are animals on a planet and we're just here experiencing life. And this is our biological experience, but we are not limited by our biology. There's so much more to explore. I think sometimes when people talk about biology and like reality is biological, but you're limiting yourself to one section of a biological reality. There's like thousands of options. Like we are nature experiencing itself. Why are you limiting yourself to this one prescription or this one framework? And that's usually because of frameworks of oppression and religion and all these other things. And so it's just so important to remember that. Now, warning, I did not finish this video on my own. I just saw it and thought it was funny and liked it, but I don't even understand what it is. So whatever we're about to see it for the first time together. Do not judge me. I don't know what this I don't know what this is, okay? I don't know what it is.
Transgender, he, she, LGBT, fatty, wannabe man, queer.
See, I didn't know what it was gonna be. Something in my intuition was like, this might be funny. It was a little funny. Okay, that is pretty funny. It's a little bit funny. Okay, I don't know. I think it's pro-gay, pro-trans, pro-LGBT. I think it's pro, right? I think it's like making fun of like The Exorcist or something. I don't know. You know what? We're here for a ride. Okay, we're here for the ride. Okay, let's is this the end of it is. The end of our Pride videos for today. We'll end with a look.
I am opposed to hatred, inequality, oppression, and violence. I'm not opposed to people. And my humanity-centered vision of the world includes my so-called oppressors, because I know that a world without the tyranny of the gender binary will also help them. I feel profound grief that they think that I'm causing Western civilization's decline and not climate apocalypse, because their intellectual and ideological beliefs are not going to protect them from wildfires or earthquakes or tsunamis or hurricanes. These people are not bad people. They're people who have been misled by deliberate strategies that are meant to keep them in an oppositional space. I am opposed to hatred.
Okay, now with that in mind, something happened and I want to tell you about it. One of the things that I rely on heavily is data. One of the things I rely on heavily is lived experience, because that's data. And then I hold it up against statistics. And then I also understand that the world is diverse and full of like 8 billion people, all with different opinions and different eating schedules. And it's going to cause well, in order to not become biased or prejudiced, you're going to have to question yourself without doubting yourself. These are different things. And, you know, somebody commented on my video yesterday. And when I first saw the comment, it was upsetting because it felt like a type of person that I've interacted with before, the type of person that's deeply, deeply and maliciously cruel, but pretends they care. And I saw it and I said, I have a feeling that this person is something. I showed it to my partner and I said, I want to make sure that my data is correct. And I think this person's malicious. And my partner was like, oh yeah, block them. And I was like, no, I'm going to check my data, because I am not trying to build an audience that agrees with me. I'm trying to build an audience that agrees with the ethics and the frameworks in which we're trying to engage with and promote without making prescriptions. And, you know, I went back and forth with this person. I was like, maybe they don't know. Maybe I'll be good faith. Maybe I shouldn't assume that they know. Because if they know, and then they wrote this comment, that is so fucked up. But maybe they don't know. And if they don't know, then I'm fucked up for thinking they know. So I was like, okay, I'm going to be good faith with them, because that's so foundational to who I am as a human. Here's how the conversation went. Person says, can I request that Dr. K moderate an off-screen or on-screen discussion between you and Steven? The only Steven I know is Steven Bonnell, which is Destiny. I think you all help each other's blind spots that everyone has. This was on the video I posted about MAGA conservative girlies wanting to give up their vote. Right? Mind you, Destiny is an abuser. Destiny's facing a felony. Destiny has admitted to engaging in malicious acts of sharing intimate videos that were recorded with or against people's consent. He was engaged and found to have possible CP on his computer, right? Okay. And I'm sitting here like, this was, and by the way, I haven't talked to Destiny since 2022. Mind you, it's been 4 years. Which is, it sounds crazy because time went by so fast. I have not spoken to this man since 2022. I've met him one time in person and we were coworkers. Okay? The only reason we don't talk now, well, not the only reason, but the reason that our collaboration didn't continue was because when I called him out on stream in a way that I thought was very like dignified, he burned the bridge, had his community harass me for 2 years, and then tried to paint me as a crazy person on the internet for 2 years. Okay? And then every video I made where I ever mentioned him, he would highlight and then be like, she's obsessed with me. Right? And I'm like, so I stopped talking about him because there was no way I was going to win against thousands of misogynists who were obsessed with me on Reddit, right? So I responded back because again, this is a values framework for me that I rely on, which is Brittany, assume good faith in everybody, but listen to people when they tell you who they are. Okay? So then I responded, hey, you may not know about the lore, but he and I were coworkers who had a falling out because I told my chat during a stream not to get relationship advice from him. A while after that, victims came forward and he is now facing a felony in Florida. He's a predator, not someone to build bridges with. This comment is so inappropriate and dangerous to ask people to build bridges with predators and abusers. I was about to block you for being a troll, but based on your comment history, because remember, as a YouTuber, I can see people's comment history. That's what I look at before I block people to see if they've made other rude comments or if they've made good faith comments, and maybe this one's just a weird one, right? I said, based off of your comment history, you seem genuine. Please be careful about the comments that you leave. P.S. If Dr. K ever collabs with Destiny again, I'll never promote his content again and write him off as an abuse supporter. Again, think before commenting in the future. Because Dr. K has yet to collab with Destiny since the allegations came out, right? I made the decision to trust Dr. K's judgment generally, because he seems to make relatively good choices. If he ever platforms Destiny again or talks to Destiny without talking about these things, then I would write him off and I would make a video about it and it would be a thing. Yeah? Okay. Somebody even said, girl, he literally made her life hell for a bit. You don't build bridges with abusers. This person responded, said, gotcha. I haven't looked into any of the court stuff. Apologies for upsetting you. I suppose we'll see what the court sentences him with. I know who this person is, not literally, but this type of person who always comes in defending Destiny and other abusive men. They haven't done the research, they haven't looked into it, but then they sit there and they blame you for not wanting to engage with these men. It gets worse. So I knew right away. I was like, okay, one more time, good faith, Brittany. One more time, good faith. Okay? I will be one more time good faith because again, a lot of, even my Discord knows, my Discord has been witness to it, where young boys especially were joining my Discord, coming from Destiny's community or Hassan's or somebody else's, and they will say, oh, but isn't Destiny a good debater? And we're like, he's literally an abuser and a predator. I don't care if he's a good debater. And they'll be like, yeah, but what has he done? And then my Discord will go detail by detail with all of the receipts, and then people are still like, but is he that bad? Again, I don't know what men need to do for you to believe him. He will say it with his full chest, yes, I did all these things. And his fans will still come in and say, but like, is he that bad though? Okay, so then I went good faith one more time. I said, hey, it doesn't matter what the court says. He admitted to doing it. If you support him, please leave my channel or I'll block you. Or you can clarify that you don't support abusers and he's also a Zionist ? He supports the G side. Like, girl, I'm trying to make sure you understand how serious this is. Because I deal with a lot of autistic people. I deal with a lot of neurodivergents. I don't know sometimes if like you're not reading the room and I'm trying to tell you he's a predator and you're just like, or if you are literally, you know, he's a predator and you're not, you know what I'm saying? You're not paying attention. Because I do deal with so many neurodivergent people who just like, they don't know. And I'm trying to warn them and I'm trying to say like, hey, do you get it? Do you see what's happening? I'm trying to say like, signal safety, please. Signal safety. Okay. They said, I don't support him. I honestly just watched Dr. K a lot and saw a bunch of his therapy sessions with different streamers and remembered y'all zero knowledge of him admitting he's an abuser. Again, all I can say is I'm sorry, ? I have enjoyed your videos, but we'll understand if you need to block. Sometimes we got to choose ourselves. I get it. Sorry if I brought him up in ignorance. Been more clocked into larger sphere of politics lately than streamers. Again, like as I read these comments, and this is for all of you to remember, when people are asking you, this is a read the room moment. I'm asking to signal safety. Like that's what the sentence structure is. It's saying, hey, do you know he's an abuser? Not, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm telling all of you this. Like this is exactly what I'm saying when I'm saying you have to signal safety to people because they're giving you a chance after chance and you're just doing the absolute opposite. It gets worse. I said, okay, this is all said with firm but chill voice, genuine. I also respond knowing others will see and learn, so this isn't just for you, it's for the community. I don't want to block you. I just don't want people in my community who support abusers. I censor my comments often because that community harassed me and others for 2 years and it was horrible. I can't tell if you're a kid/boomer or you're just not getting it, but your responses just feel like you don't understand the issue. This isn't about my mental health. It's about my community and about taking a principled stance. I misspelled taking right there. Obviously, my autocorrect is failing me. Your responses make it sound like the issue is personal instead of community. This is what people do to femmes or women or people who appear femme. They say, oh, I'm so sorry I triggered you. Oh, I'm so sorry I upset you. Block me for your mental health. I am trying to make aware of an abuser. They go, I get it. You were personally impacted. And I'm like, this isn't about me. This is about, it's like they do this. So they go, oh, she's crazy. She's obsessed. Oh, because he hurt you. Because a guy hurt you. Instead of like, I'm trying to bring, my mother did this to me because that's how patriarchy trains even women. When I brought up the abuse that my brother did to a minor, she was like, did he hurt you though? And I was like, what does that have to do with anything? And she goes, but sometimes I just feel like you're mad at him. And I was like, I'm mad for the victims. And even like this is patriarchy training us to think that you must have a personal vendetta against somebody to fight for injustice. And I'm saying it's not about what anyone did to me. It's about the fact that they are hurting multiple people. And you're just sitting here acting like, are you sure? Like maybe this is like personal for you. Do you think it's because you were raped? Which is what Destiny's community did to me. Brittany can't talk about these issues because like she is sexually assaulted. Right? It's really fucked up. But I want you to pay attention to it because people are going to do this to you for the rest of your life. And it's not okay. Okay. So then I went on. And also, this is just proof that I am right. That I check my bias and prejudice. That I make sure to be good faith. But remember that I am right. And if I'm wrong, my audience will call me out on it. But they will call me out based off of our ethics. Our shared ethics. Okay? I said, your responses made it sound like the issue is personal instead of community issue. This channel is about helping people introspect and have a deeper understanding. I'm attempting to communicate that your understanding is shallow. Examples. You could have responded, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Thank you for telling me. I didn't know. I'm sorry I mentioned it. I'll make sure to warn others about him. Wow, my autocorrect is really fucked with this sentence. Look how many misspellings. To be fair, I used the slidey thing, so just in my defense. Okay. You said, but I said, but you made it sound, oh, I'm sorry you have issues and I made you upset. Thanks, ? I'm more concerned about safety of others who don't know he's unsafe. I said, your response doesn't fit the conversation. It's like you didn't even process what I said. Or maybe you just don't think he's dangerous. So you think the issue is personal, ? Wishing you well. I'm done responding here. You can always type in chat. Look at what they responded. Oh my God, get ready. And I will say this with gentleness before I remove myself. This is one of your weaknesses, Brittany, ... And I know that you know this from how you've discussed your BPD diagnosis and recovery journey. I hold male tubers to the same account, so I'm being fair when I say that I'm attempting to control the voice and opinions and exactly how they state them of those who watch you will shoot yourself in your own foot. You are falling right into the purity trap of your religious upbringing beat into your head. I hope you have a wonderful day. I know you will. Be careful with your fire to nature versus nuke people, or nurture versus nuke people. You will never have the effect that you wish to change people versus create your own little bubble box echo chamber. So, weaponizing my mental health, weaponizing where I'm at. What does my BPD diagnosis have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? What does that have to do with anything? So I'm going to block this person. Okay. Thank you for trying to be a part of the community. Blocked. Right? Listen, I knew from the very first comment, girls, this is how I was going to go. Look, the very first comment, can I request Dr. K moderate off-screen and on-screen discussions between you and Steven? I think it will help with each other's blind spots. Blind spots, Habibi, he has a criminal possible record. He admitted to the things that he did. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, that's what I'm saying to you. I knew right away, but I told myself, okay, girl, pause, double check. Just make sure. Just make sure, Brittany, that your pattern, you're recognizing the correct pattern. And I did. And I knew. And this is how I think a lot of people feel, especially marginalized people, where people will say things and will be like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? And they're like, oh, you're so sensitive. You're so sensitive. You know what I mean? I'm like, what do you mean by that? And then people was like, oh, you're reading into it. You're too, like, you're just reading into it. Like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, And I try, because I want to make sure that people know that I am trying to be as good faith as possible. And I want to recognize that, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is not just about me or streaming. This is something that will happen in your life forever. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this will happen to you forever. That you will be in a conversation with someone, you'll be friends with someone, you'll think you're vibing and everything is good. And then they'll say something like neo-pronouns. And you're like, you know, someone will say something like, oh my gosh, I just wish people would come over the border legally. They'll say something like, you know, I'm not fat phobic, but sometimes I just think like fat people are uglier. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't say that like you have to straighten your hair, but curly hair just looks really disorganized. You know? So again, you know, I'm not racist, but I just have a preference for white skin. Okay? All I'm saying is that this is why I say, like, it's not a preference. This is why I call out even the slight. I'm like, no. Because, like, where'd you get that information? Again, I have these conversations with people in my life, like even my partner and I'll be like, the word you use there, though, implies this. I feel like it means this. And even my partner and I are like, oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, you're right. I said this, but I meant this. Like, we will discuss it in such good faith because we're all trained under these oppressive systems to use language. And we think like, no, this is just like how I feel right now. And I'm like, is that how you feel right now? Is that how you think you feel right now? And it's only in good faith that we're allowed to actually get to the right answer. You know what I'm saying? But this person in the Destiny bubble, they don't want the real answers. They don't want them. They just want to keep arguing with you and tell you you're in an echo chamber and tell you that this is your blind spot. You weaponize not only my religious upbringing, but my BPD diagnosis, and then you ask me to build bridges with a predator who allegedly has CP on his computer. Do you know what I'm saying? Who admitted to having the videos on his computer. Do you know what I'm saying? What are we talking about? Like, what are we even, do you know what I'm saying? But this, I tell you this right now, there are millions of people who think like this, billions. It's a little bit of a troll, but it's a little bit of a real person. And that's what's scary. That's what's scary. We've had people join the Discord and defend Destiny so hard. I'm like, why are you here? And they'll say something like, I don't care what happened between you and Destiny. I just want to talk about philosophy. And I'm like, this is why I say my Discord is for leftists. My Discord wants to call out abusers. My Discord is not interested in talking about philosophy without it impacting marginalized people. What's good is your philosophy if it doesn't deconstruct white supremacy and capitalism and patriarchy. Philosophy to white men is just a fun time to debate ideas. We're trying to figure out philosophically how to help other people. It's not going to help other people to build bridges with predators. Okay? Yeah, Chess says I just banned someone from my Discord because they joined just to vague post about someone. That's what I'm saying, girl. And look, in the past, I've been so good faith to people where I'm like, maybe they don't know, maybe they don't know, maybe they don't know. That's why I have to be so harsh now because I'm just like, I've been so good faith to people and it hurts more people in the long run because those same people that day one are disruptive, it takes so much work to get those people not to be. Like, why are you disruptive day one? You know, like, why are you causing a problem? Why are you making people stand on edge day one? Because, you know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing here? Anyways, But this is why a lot of what's Curry's name? The philosophy professor Curry. He said this. He said philosophy is only so good, and you have to still put it into action. Like, this is why I say I love philosophy, but I am never going to do the kind of philosophy that doesn't have real world implications. Tom Curry, thank you. Like, I want philosophy to have world life impact, because I think it could, if we introspect and deconstruct and really come to a consensus that's based off of data, and that data includes lived experience, of course, but like, there is data out here. So again, I'm sharing this so you know, not only are you not crazy to be concerned, but you're right to call it out. Sometimes even on my Discord, we've got a couple people who are really good at it, where like somebody will join it right away. They're like, why do you talk like that? And I'm like, hold on, everybody. And they're like, why do you talk like that? And I'm like, why do you talk like, you know, like, there are some people who are really, really good at knowing. Shut up, Anthony. Do Not Worry Podcast gifted 5 memberships. Oh my God. Shout out to my Assyrian cousin, Anthony from Lebanon, who's been bringing us the news, everything about the Ethan court case and everything. I know people have asked me to talk about it, but honestly, I get all my news from Anthony. That's where I get all my news about the lawsuits from Anthony. So if you guys, you know, I thought about, maybe I should just have Anthony on I'll interview Anthony about them, but I need to go over some of it maybe later this week. But I get all my knowledge about the lawsuits from Anthony. He covers it really, really well. And it just keeps me in the loop without having to go run and search for all this stuff that's been happening, you know? So shout out to Anthony. I appreciate that so much. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Have a great day today. Have a good stream if you stream today. Okay, so does that just, you know what I mean? Let me scroll up. I didn't read chat while I was monologuing here. Yeah, Chet says Destiny is not someone that deserves good faith. Not only is he not someone who deserves good faith, like, shame on anyone who is collaborating with him, which we're going to talk about later about guilty by association, because once again, all these men always get away with this, like, collaborating with people and not being seen as necessarily bad. And I don't get it. You know, why did the girls, patriarchy, why did the girls get so much more flack for who we collab with, right? Than the boys? And I think it's because men are seen as like really standing their ground. Well, girls are just there to, like, I guess not, even if they're debating. But again, even if you're in opposition, should you be collaborating with these people? You know what I mean? And that's why it's so hard. Like, I asked my Discord the other day, who should I collab with? They gave me a lot of good people. And still, like, the note is always like, but vet them yourself. Because, like, it's really terrifying to sit here, do collaboration with somebody, and then you see them the next day saying, like, oh my God, and you're just like, holy fuck, I didn't know this about them. And so it's you know, it's one of those things where, should we all, you know, the old YouTube was just, you collabed with everybody and everybody. There was no vetting. Old YouTube was just like, you don't even need to vet. If somebody messages you to collab, you just do it. And now it's like, you got to be careful out here. You really do. So again, even if I collab with somebody, I'm doing my best to vet them. I won't always be perfect. But so far, I think I've done pretty well at who I've collabed with in the last year, right? And I have been messaging other people, and I hope they get back to me. I hope they're interested. Some people did get back to me, said that timing is an issue, but maybe in the future. So I'm hoping that we get some good collaborations for the rest of the year. I think it'd be nice to bring some voices together. But again, we are individuals and we are allowed to have our separate opinions. We're also allowed to build bridges with people who have generally similar frameworks, right? And I think that's my hope, is that we build relationships with people that generally have similar values and enough overlap that we can collaborate in good faith, and hope that, you know, we're not going to have a guilty by association problem. But, you know, anyways, we'll talk about that later. Let's talk about this right now. When men gather, even in the name of fun, destruction happens. And let's talk about why that seems to be. Now, I would just argue, evolutionarily speaking, not that I would know how that works because I'm not educated in that field, but I do think that it would seem to make sense if you just remember that we're animals on a planet, and when animals get excited, like, have you ever seen a cat run around your room and destroy stuff? I feel like it's similar. And on top of that, there's a patriarchal version of celebration that also engages in breaking shit. And I do wish we would get away from that, but it is interesting to watch. Here's just a bunch of TikToks and then we'll talk about it. This is seen attacking Spurs fans on stream after game 3 losses. New York fans, Knicks. This is TMZ.
Take the truth. So in case you couldn't tell, the New York Knicks lost a close Game 3 to San Antonio in the NBA Finals, their first Finals game at Madison Square Garden in 27 years. And unfortunately, some Knicks fans did not take the loss well. Instead, several Spurs fans were reportedly harassed with videos showing people being shoved, punched, kicked, and having their gear ripped apart. Kick streamer Lenny Miller captured one of the more alarming moments on his IRL stream, where one of his friends wearing a Victor Wembanyama jersey was swarmed by a crowd of Knicks fans and briefly disappeared into the chaos before managing to escape. The jersey, however, did not survive. But that wasn't the only incident. Other videos circulating online appear to show Spurs fans bloodied and being escorted to safety by the NYPD. Honestly, a really scary scene after a basketball game, but hopefully this type of behavior doesn't happen again in New York, regardless of the outcome of Game 4. But what
Okay, now look at this video.
Year-old boy is in a coma after being assaulted. A 17-year-old boy is in a coma after being assaulted following the Knicks game Wednesday night. Investigators released a photo of one of the suspects wanted in connection with what they're calling a gang assault on 35th Street around 11:45 p.m. Wednesday. Police say a fight over the Knicks escalated with multiple people punching and kicking the teenager until he suffered a seizure. Anyone with information is asked to call the NYPD.
Now, of course, and I'll just say this ahead of time, there's going to be a lot of anti-blackness that comes out in these stories because a lot of the videos show groups of black men. Don't let that get you away from the main point that I'm trying to make. It's not about black people. It's about men. It's about patriarchy, because that crowd was very diverse. It was not just black men, but the white supremacist news stories are trying to like highlight that it's black people. Don't get distracted. It's not black people, it's men. It's patriarchy. So I just want to make sure we talk about that up front, because it will look that way, but that is on purpose. Remember, the news is also biased and prejudiced and bigoted. So you have to make sure you understand how they're telling the story to make it look a particular way. But these things are happening and lots of people were there.
Of overnight reports of cars on fire, police cars on fire.
Yes, exactly, chat. Black men will always be the scapegoats under patriarchy. Exactly.
Also, a school bus lit on fire, damage all over the city. And the NYPD also said reports of shots fired in Times Square. A 17-year-old shot in the foot. 3 people currently in custody. However, no arrests. But by and large, it was positive overnight. Reports.
Exactly, Chad said white people will also burn shit down when they win sports. Actually, they're infamous for it. Literally infamous for it. And that's why I say be very careful. This story that I'm covering is about how men celebrate under patriarchy and how they feel entitled to destroying things in the name of celebration, and why we can fix this. We can do something about this. Like, this doesn't have to be how it is. There were so many moments of good celebration. There were so many safe moments of good celebration. I mean, lots of people were there. So I would say a majority of the people celebrated in really good ways. The question is, what do we do about the few that decided to celebrate in ways that I'm like, hello, why did we do this? Okay, so here's another one. Allegedly, these buses were here to shuttle people home. I don't know if that's true, but there was like 5 school buses waiting. And I don't know if that is true, but I was, from my understanding of what's been reported, they were supposed to eventually shuttle people home. Okay, so those are the news stories. Here's random people's TikToks. Yeah, Chad said, why do they say gang attack? That felt like a dog whistle. I'm not sure if they mean a literal gang or if they use the gang word because it is a dog whistle, which is why I wanted to put out that warning about anti-blackness. I don't know. But yeah, like, I don't know if they literally mean a gang, like with an insignia and everything, but it could have just been a dog whistle. So good thing to pay attention to. Okay, so this is just, again, random people's TikToks. I can't do crowds of people like this. I get so nervous in crowds of people like this. I'm 5'1". I get lost in a crowd. I can't do stuff like this. Yeah, Chet says, yeah, women are the overly emotional ones. I know, seriously. Like, it just seems so silly to me, like ridiculous. So these are streamers. You might recognize some of them, but they say NYC gone wild running from Dynamite.
Oh, fuck! What the fuck is happening? Holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck.
It could just be fireworks. I don't know if it's literally Dynamite. I don't know if they're saying that for views.
Holy fuck, holy fuck, holy fuck. What the fuck? I don't know, like, explosions. People were running away. People were fucking running. Wait, let me hide in here. Shit. I just want to go to the other side. Yo, what's up? Nice hoodie. What's happening out there? What's Holy fuck, that car got destroyed.
Like, I just would not feel comfortable in any of this. I don't like it. Look at these cops just watching. Oh my God, I'm so pissed. I do not like this. I do not like this, Sam. I am. Look at these police officers just watching it all happen. I'm so sick of this. Guys, stop beating each other up. Like, everybody stop. Like, bros, please go home and meditate. Stop. Oh my God. And it just sucks because I feel like all of these men will now be arrested by the NYPD, and they'll, or I don't know what they're, is that what they're called? The New York Public. Anyways, I feel like they're going to get arrested, and there is a group of black men right now, and it feels like all these white officers are going to come in like, are you going to catch a case for fucking fighting in New York? Go home. This is what I'm saying. Like, if this was my brother, I'd be like, go home. Stop doing this. Like, I feels like women have to bear the brunt of caring about our sons and fathers and brothers and cousins, and we're screaming from the top of our lungs, go home. Instead, you are going in public, and you are, you know what I'm saying? Like, go home. This pains me. Like, this stuff makes me so angry because, like, why are you doing this? Like, why is this your pastime? Go home.
Back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up, back up.
And now you're gonna get arrested. And I understand, look, they might not arrest as many white people as they do black people. That's my concern, is that if you're black and brown, you are more likely to get arrested for the same action a white person does. So if you see a white guy blow a bus up or jump on a light, he might get a slap on the wrist, but you're going to get booked. And I'm saying, oh my God, this is unfair. And I know men want to celebrate together, but can't you find another way to celebrate as a community? Can we create safe ways for our communities to celebrate than this? Like, I don't understand this. And then, of course, they like surrounded some cabbies. They like busted in some taxis. Like, apparently some celebrities came forward to pay for some of those taxis, but these are people's like livelihoods. People got their cars destroyed that just parked on the street. This is what I'm saying. saying marginalized people are suffering as it is, why would you attack a cabbie driver that is most likely a marginalized person who has put their whole life savings into this car, who like needs this car to get around? And that's why I say like there are a lot of the comments were like, if you only had this much passion about politics, but they don't. A lot of groups of men do not engage in politics. They don't vote. They're not participating. They'll go out and march for the Knicks, but they won't go out and march for their own rights. Like, this is what I'm saying. Like, this is the world we live in. And I'm like, man, I could not imagine a group of women doing this. I just couldn't imagine us doing this. And not because of biology, not because men are more violent or women aren't, because of the way we've been conditioned and raised under patriarchy. Like, again, I couldn't imagine a group of women setting a bus on fire or destroying a cabbie's livelihood. Like, I just don't see how that's possible. And it never happens for a reason. And again, these reasons should be deconstructed. We should be talking about it. It is serious, but this cannot be good for anybody. I think it probably feels really free. Like Chet's saying, where does this come from psychologically? Well, I don't know. That's not my field of study. I don't have a field of study, but I would just say, like, when I think about it, I think about that it must feel really free. Like, have you ever destroyed something just to feel good? I have. Okay, you've thrown a plate, you've hit a punching bag, you're just like screaming and it feels so good. You're driving fast on the freeway and you just yell. It feels so good. We are animals. And so there's a part of our biological experience where we just want to feel free. Stop telling me what to do with my life. But the dilemma is when your expression of freedom comes in, this, right? Like, this is why I think white men love the idea of like, don't tread on me, don't tell me what to do. And this is why they feel emboldened in the way that, so again, I'm saying there's something really explainable here happening. And I'm saying we have to find better ways to express ourselves than this. I would feel so terrified if I was in this taxi. And this is also what I mean when I say men don't care about other men, because this is someone's father, someone's uncle, someone's brother. Someone's grandpa is trying to drive this taxi and make a living so he can pay rent this month. And like, these men don't care about each other. That's what I mean to say patriarchy does not care about men. Men don't care about men. Because why am I more upset for this man than you are? Why am I more upset for him? And it's because you don't care about men. Okay? This gentleman here, the way they surround him, the way he is alone, it terrifies me if this was my father.
No! Get the fuck out! Yo, you wildin', cuz!
What do y'all niggas got liquor on me? I know that.
They're filming him. They're like stalking him like lions, bro. They're literally stalking people like fucking lions. And I'm sitting here like, man, we really are predators, aren't we? Human beings are super predatory. Look at the way I would not have any interest in this. And what are you doing? You're following him. You're in his face. All because he's wearing a Spurs jersey. This would feel terrifying to me. And yes, there are women in the crowd, but do not get it twisted that they are following and copying what the men are doing. So don't try to get in my chat and say like, oh, are women engaged? Yeah, women engage in patriarchy because they're pick-me's and because they're trying to be cool towards the boys. A majority of people out here were men, and a majority of the people causing the damage were men. Women were participating in ways to be cool to the guys. That is not the same thing. That is not, otherwise it would literally be reversed. It is not the same thing. Okay, now here's another angle of the same guy. Oh, and this sound is very triggering to me because now that I've seen the movie, this isn't even funny. This sound is so triggering to me now because if you know, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that is not even funny now. It wasn't even funny before, but now it's not funny. Because now all I'm thinking about is Ricky, and I'm like, what is this? See, now I just have like so much anxiety for this man. Like he's running. It's so awful. It's just so awful. I don't like it. I do not like it.
10 NYPD officers were injured, including one who was hit in the head by a glass bottle during what police described as reckless and dangerous behavior by fans celebrating the Knicks winning Game 4 of the NBA Finals on Wednesday. According to the NYPD, 56 people were taken into custody, and of them, 15 people were arrested. The rest were issued criminal summonses. Some charges against those people arrested include criminal possession of a weapon, reckless endangerment, criminal mischief, disorderly conduct, and resisting arrest.
Oh, look, is that a white kid getting arrested? Wow.
The NYPD also said that crowds of people took over streets, refused to disperse, and started to jump on top of vehicles. Police say that this rowdy behavior happened outside of the established secure zone that prohibited anybody from coming through unless they had a ticket to the game or official business in the area. Police say that within that zone, people were able to peacefully enjoy being in restaurants and bars. And this isn't the first time that the NYPD has had
Also, fuck the police.
to take people into custody following an NBA Finals game this series. They also made arrests following watch parties for games 2 and 3.
Okay. Jesus Christ. You know how hot that is? Have you ever been next to a burning car? I have, on the freeway during an accident. It is so hot. It is literally so hot. That feels so scary to me. You know what's amazing though? What's amazing is they cleaned up the streets. By the next day, everything was clean. New York really came through. Amazing. This video, I hate this video. Actually, I find it very triggering. So you might find it triggering too. I hate this video. As somebody who has been pinned down, as somebody who's been grabbed and her clothes ripped off, I hate this video. And it's not just the Knicks. Now we have everybody in town for the World Cup. And now all the foreigners who are visiting, which welcome to America. Some of the chat was like, oh, I forgot we had guests over. We literally have guests coming to our country. They're fighting in the streets of New York. Jesus Christ, people. Come on, boys. It's like Argentina is fighting. Girl, please, everybody relax. I mean, seriously, these bros, these men, please, just groups of men fighting each other, being violent, tearing off each other's clothes, like, please. So it's not just Americans. It is not just one group of people. It is patriarchy, men. It is a global phenomenon. And it doesn't just stop there. It doesn't just stop, okay, with men coming together for games. It also goes larger with government entities, with Trump having this UFC fight and this fighter calling Michelle Obama a man, which is so racist and disgusting, with individual husbands and boyfriends drugging and raping their wives and having men gang rape them. News story just hit CNN. Get ready for this. It's groups of men engaging in deplorable and disgusting actions, all because I believe from little children they were trained under patriarchy to be predatory and to be seen as normal. So this is why I take such a strong stance against predatory men and abusive men, because all my life I've been trained to ignore, make excuses, tell a story to move it away. And I'm telling you right now, predatory men do not look like monsters. They look like regular people.
More than a dozen men are accused of taking part in the alleged sexual assault of a British woman who prosecutors say was drugged by her husband and raped while unconscious. 12 men, their identities withheld because of UK reporting restrictions, appeared alongside the husband in a Manchester court on Monday. The man, who authorities say is in his 60s, has pleaded not guilty to 48 counts, including multiple counts of rape and sexual assault. His 12 co-defendants, who are aged between 28 and 73, face various allegations, including conspiracy to rape and sexual assault. So far, only one man has pleaded guilty to the charges he faces in connection with the case. The 13 men, including the husband, are set to stand trial in September. More than
Disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting. This happened. 3 women and 3 teenage girls burned in targeted Jersey City acid attack. This just happened.
Jersey City. An acid attack in Jersey City injures 3 women and 3 teenage girls. Police say the victims were outside on Wilkinson Avenue around 7:30 last night when someone drove by and threw acid on them. All 6 victims were taken to a nearby hospital and treated for skin burns. One 21-year-old woman suffered second-degree burns to her face and scalp. Police tell us this does appear to be a targeted attack that stemmed from an argument earlier in the day. At least 1 juvenile has been arrested. An acid attack in Jersey City.
How horrible is that? How absolutely horrible is that? Okay. Chat says patriarchy and matriarchy are the same as socialist or communist or hell, even fascism. They both are. That's really reductive and uneducated, and you don't know what you're talking about. The reason people in chat think you're a troll is because it's just very unserious, because it's very uneducated. So you might want to sit this one out. You might want to just sit and watch. But the reason my chat literally thinks you're a troll is because that argument being made in my chat seems absolutely insane if you know anything about anything. So that's why people are coming at you right now in my chat. Okay? All of this to say, we're not even done. There are so many other stories I'm going to show you today that I think I need to highlight. And again, even if it is somebody, you know, like you like, again, no matter who you think it is, these men who are not doing the work to deconstruct will engage in patriarchal humor, revenge. They'll feel justified in it. They'll feel good about it. And I'm saying whether it's men who are setting a bus on fire or men who are getting up on streams using derogatory language in order to pwn the right, okay? We're dealing with men who are in positions of power, who under patriarchy will suffer, but not suffer the same way marginalized people will, especially femme-presenting people or women. You know, we're dealing with a very serious issue, and a lot of us feel the way we do because we know that at the end of the day, in a crowd full of men, there's only one demographic that is going to be the most unsafe in a very specific and unique way. So again, men will be harmed by patriarchy. These men I'm showing you, these men are beating up on other men, right? It's not to say men aren't harmed. It's to say if you are so afraid for these men who are getting harmed, now imagine what's happening to the women, because it's worse. And I'm not here to compare pain. I'm here to say, if only we could come together to rally to help ourselves. If only we could come together. If only we could link arms and actually want better for our communities. And we need to all be in this together. So it really means we have to agree that it's harming us. So until men agree patriarchy is hurting them, until white people agree capitalism is harming them, right? Until we recognize that all these things are harming us, we can't do anything without everybody involved, but we can do a lot of things individually within our community. So again, don't give up hope. I never want my content to be like, oh, Brittany's saying there's no hope. There is so much hope. It's just not as widespread. So micro-wise, you can do so much in your community. Macro-wise, we're kind of going to need everybody involved, guys. You know, everyone's got to kind of get together. Which is why I would love these leftist men, from Hassan Piker to Kyle Klinsky or anybody else. I would love to root for them if they only didn't engage in the same misogynistic bullshit, racist bullshit that I have to deal with from people on the right. If only they couldn't do it so I could loudly and proudly back them. But until that happens, I have to call them out. Because they are absolutely contributing to exactly what we saw in these videos. They just don't want to take responsibility for it. Okay, we'll talk about that in a second with Charlemagne the God and Hassan doing a collaboration, because Charlemagne's one of those guys who literally talks about catching a rape charge, possibly raping his wife when they first met, taking it back and saying that's not what he said. And now Hassan Piker is doing a collaboration with him. So, okay, this is layered in ways that I don't even know how to explain to you, because this is my job. I watch all of the content, but it really is why the world can't be any better. Because even the people who are supposed to be the good guys talk about catching rape charges. Talk about using misogyny to win over men on the right. Literally. So, you know, okay. Let's take a 5-minute break, and then we'll come back and we'll get into that stuff because it's going to take a second. And we also have an update on the Australian referee who did the Nazi sign. I'm going to just wait. And then, of course, at the end of stream, we'll talk about Ariana again, because not Ariana, but talking about eating disorders and stuff like that, because I think I found somebody who's more on my side of the conversation, and I want to explore that video with you guys. So, okay, 2-minute break, really. I'll be right back. Elvin's music can be found in the description. Talented artist, check her out. Okay, hold on. I just remembered. I need to pull this up. Pausing music, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me see. The next 2 stories I'm going to show you guys might be triggering to some people. Specifically, maybe people in the people who might. Hold on, let me pull it up. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, huh? Where did it go? What happened? Wait. Oh, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to cover 2 stories that might be triggering, especially to the Black community, just because it's like, I'm sorry. Like, I feel like sometimes I hate, like, we cover a lot of racism stuff here. It ends up being about Black communities, and it must feel so fucking exhausting to always have the racism story be about Black people. I mean, at some point, it must be really exhausting. And on the other side of it, I don't want us to pretend it's not happening or we're not having these conversations. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna show you these two videos. They might be triggering. Just keep that in mind, right? Chat says, genuine question. Why do you say pausing music in 1, 2, 3 when you're about to pause the music? Oh, because fun fact, it might feel like a whiplash to neurodivergent people. Like it might feel like, you know, because the music is there and then all of a sudden it just stops. And so I just do it for my neurodivergents who might feel like, you know, like, because it happens to me when I see, it happened to me. That's why I do it. Because that's why. Anyways, okay. So first story, just absolutely horrible story. And once again, I am going to connect it to patriarchy because this is exactly why capitalism is evil. This is exactly why white supremacy is evil. This is exactly why patriarchy is evil. All right.
Fatally shot. A 1-year-old boy was fatally shot by police responding to a shoplifting incident in a Walmart parking lot. Here's what happened. 1-year-old Cohen Wiley was killed by police in a Mississippi Walmart parking lot after officers opened fire on his family's car while his mother and aunt were trying to flee the scene after allegedly stealing diapers. Officers from the Senatobia Police Department and the Tate County Sheriff's Department were responding to a shoplifting call when they reportedly spotted the suspect's car driving away. The Mississippi Department of Public Safety said in a statement that an officer fired shots after the driver reportedly sped in the direction of police that were trying to stop the car. Cohen's family says his mother was holding him in the passenger seat when the shooting occurred. The boy and one other passenger sustained injuries, and his aunt proceeded to drive them to the hospital where Cohen passed away. Cohen's family has disputed claims that his mother and aunt were stealing diapers from the Walmart. A witness told local news that he saw law enforcement officers waiting in the parking lot before Cohen's mother and aunt left the store holding a box of diapers. According to the Tate County Sheriff, the department is conducting an independent investigation to determine whether any of the officers involved will be placed on leave.
Look, I don't know what was happening, but a baby died. And that baby couldn't have died if nobody chased, nobody shot, and nobody felt entitled to. I don't know what the fuck happened, but a child is dead. And this makes me feel like all three of our intersections are here. So possibly women stealing diapers, which I've seen a lot in my life. And every time I see it, I didn't see anything as far as I'm concerned. Diapers should be free. Okay. So there's that. That's capitalism. Because what do you mean? Like people stealing diapers and food? That's a sign that capitalism isn't working. 2, racism. Women with baby, black, targeted by police officers, and now a child's dead. Okay. And then patriarchy. This idea that violence is the only solution when anything happens. Like there were no other solutions, no other options. You know what I'm saying? So I am devastated for this family. I'm devastated for all of us because it was somebody's neighbor, it was somebody's community member, it was a child. I'm just devastated that we live in a world where so many adults can't come together to feed, clothe, and house people. That with all of our genius, with all of our technology, with all of our wisdom, maybe lack thereof, we don't come together to figure out ways to make everyone's life 1,000 times easier. Just terrible. Right? Chat says, this is where I get confused. Is stealing something that is not yours a bad thing? I agree people shouldn't be in the position to steal. Okay, I don't think you should steal things. Usually from grandmas and grandpas or scamming old people. It is different than stealing diapers. This is why ethics is subjective. We make a concession. We talk about where the gray is in our ethics. Ethics is for society. Should a society run that involves people stealing? When we talk about philosophy, the reason we have to talk in the abstract is because we don't live in a world where it exists, where society supports its people. So then when we discuss politics, it has to come secondary to philosophy, but then the philosophy has to take into consideration the politics, right? So when we're talking about whether or not it's ethical to steal, so you have to take into consideration what you're seeing. So should you steal $50 out of the purse of an old lady you see at church? No. Because there's a direct line between you stealing from this old woman who needs that money and you knowing that there are other ways for you to get money. Stealing diapers from a multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar corporation that literally can write it off, that literally isn't going to be impacted in the same way, that has no correlation between you and your community, is a reflection that the government and the way that the government is run and the way that the economy is run is failing, right? That's different. You stealing $50 from a grandma is a failure of your own morality. Society pressured enough and pushed into a corner enough to steal diapers from a corporation is the failing of society. It is not their moral failing. It's the moral failing of the government. You know what I'm saying? So that's the difference. The difference here is like, who needs to change to fix the problem? This is why we argue for dismantling of systems in hopes that it will overhaul and us as a collective can come together so people don't have to be put in positions to steal diapers. That's what we're hoping for. But until you separate the individual stealing from a grandma and then individuals, taking from a corporation, you will think they're the same when they're not. So that's why it's different. I will never shame people for stealing food or diapers or necessities. It is necessary for people to have diapers for their children. It is not necessary for you to buy a second house unless you're going to put a family in there. So when we talk about being, anti-capitalist, it is anti-capitalist to steal diapers. It is not anti-capitalist to buy a second house that does not put a family in it. Okay? It is anti-capitalist because you're sending a message to the system. You're saying it's not working and you should do something about it. But they won't listen. The same government that steals everything else from everybody else, these same billionaires, these billionaires who are stealing from you by not paying their share of taxes, they are seen as heroes, while mothers who are stealing diapers are seen as villains. That's fucked up. Chad says, I love this conversation. Just want to say thanks to Brittany for cultivating this kind of community. You're welcome. I mean, we all do it together at the end of the day because you're here and that's, beautiful. So again, yeah, people said, Chad says people don't know that it's not just private versus public property. This is personal property that isn't private property. I think, there's this, it's because we're trained. So here's the thing. We are trained to think about things in a very particular way. And because we're trained to think of it in a particular way, we cut ourselves off from seeing all the possibilities. And all I'm hoping to do is do this. Listen to me when I say we're not having children. My partner and I, we go to the child's aisle pretty often and we look at it and we literally see how much diapers are. And I'm like, can you imagine if we had kids, bro? Look at the formula prices. Like we literally look at each other and think, God, imagine if we had kids. And this is why I'm so empathetic to parents because I don't think people process how expensive that stuff is. I really don't think people, unless you're living it, you could not even imagine how expensive it is to just put a diaper on your child. It is outrageous. It is so outrageous that parents sometimes feel pressured to keep the same diaper on their child for longer periods of time because they can't afford to change it. And that obviously has health consequences and comfortability consequences for your kid. Like parents shouldn't have to pick and choose, like, quote, wasting diapers by changing their kid's diaper. I am a nanny. I was a professional nanny in my 20s. I know. Like how much supply goes by so quickly, you're out of supply. I even had parents I nanny for who tried to do like a reusable diaper in hopes that would help with cost. But it is one of those things where, guys, it is so expensive. It is outrageously expensive. So don't take it for granted because it's really hard out here, Chad says, so what's then stopping people from moving towards reusable diapers? Oh, they're a pain in the ass and they smell really bad. So as a nanny, I use reusable diapers. They're very difficult. So they come in multiple layers of cloth. The cloth is then filled with poop and urine. Then it smells like ammonia, right? So then you have to properly wash it in your dryer. You have to scrub everything out. It takes hours and hours more labor just to use reusable diapers. They smell, they're big and bulky. There's a lot of layers to it. It's not the solution. It's a possible solution for some families. It is not overhaul. It's not going to work for most people. In public, it's much harder to deal with because you can't take the diaper and just throw it out. You have to take the diaper and put it into a bag. Trust me, I've lived through it. I would not recommend unless you're really in a position to do it. Yeah. I believe that question was in good faith, chat. I believe you. So, okay. Now, second story, once again, trigger warning. You've probably seen this story already, but let's watch it.
Videos of this toy being beaten, pulled, and thrown were all over China's social media before it spread beyond its borders and caused a different backlash.
They're taking delight in torturing a black baby doll. Let that sink in.
It started with a vlogger who jokingly treated the stress relief toy as if it were his daughter, naming it Natasha, according to Chinese state media Xinhua. After a clip of the vlogger accidentally dropping the toy and leaving it misshapen went viral, a wave of copycat videos followed, Xinhua reported. Most videos mentioning Natasha have since been removed from the account. CNN has reached out for comment, but has yet to receive a response. Some sellers of the toy took the trend one step further, reportedly pricking and cutting the toy with needles and knives. But the craze soon drew criticism from the China Consumers Association and state media. They said the videos emphasized violence and contained suggestive content that could harm minors. While much of the criticism in China focused on violence, some Western social media users questioned its racial undertones after the clip spread there.
Society loves to minimize anti-blackness when it's staring us right in the face.
Chinese state media says regulators in several regions have now put the toy under targeted inspection.
Now, some people are going to say, oh, you're overthinking it. It's not that deep. It's just a doll. They probably would have done it with another doll. And I'm telling you right now, it is that deep. It's always that deep. It is that deep. It's always that deep. Remember yesterday how we covered the referee who did the OK symbol? And people at first were like, oh, you know, good faith, good faith. And I explained to you dog whistles. Are you ready for his explanation for why he did it? You know how everybody was like, oh, it's just a kid's game. And he just made the signal because like, oh, okay. Do you want to know what excuse he used for it? Are you ready? Are you ready? Which is why I didn't give him any good faith.
Our official who received backlash after making this hand sign ahead of a World Cup match has said it was caused by an involuntary subconscious twitch. And
even though he posed, look how he posed, girls. Look how he posed. So he knows he's taking a photo. He knows they're focusing on him. So he poses, smiles.
By an involuntary subconscious twitch.
When it's done, he relaxes his hand and turns around. And okay.
Match has said it was caused by an involuntary subconscious twitch. An investigation was launched by FIFA against Australian referee Sean Evans after he was seen making the upside-down OK symbol ahead of Germany's match against Curacao on June 14th. The symbol, if turned upside down, can have two different meanings. One is considered a casual joke used between friends, while the other can be seen as a symbol for white supremacy, used by right-wing circles. FIFA said Evans was not found to have breached the body's disciplinary code, and the referee said he was unaware that he had even made the sign. Despite being cleared, an anti-discrimination network that works with FIFA has called for Evans to be removed from the tournament. In a statement, the referee said, I did not intentionally make a hand gesture or symbol to communicate a message, affiliation, game, or belief of any kind. The only explanation I can offer is that the movement was an involuntary subconscious twitch, and I was unaware I had done it at the time.
Okay, right? It's like, all right, brother. All right, sir. So just to make it clear, this symbol started, it means white, W, power. It's a P, so it's white power. Do you get what I'm saying? That's what the symbol is. W, white, power. That's what it is, okay? Nicki Minaj just posted this AI photo for her birthday. Do you guys see it? Do you get it? White power. Do you get it? Okay, and look, she put Elon, fucking what's her name? Sweeney Todd, Sydney Sweetie, and Trump and her. This was her birthday photo, allegedly. I think it was a birthday photo. Yeah, happy birthday tribute. Oh, to President Trump. Sorry, for Trump's birthday photo. Okay, do you get what I'm saying? That's what the symbol is. The symbol started as a meme on the internet, and now it's become a symbol of conservative white power. And the fact that Nicki Minaj did it with this is so fucking poetic to me. Because right after this happened, everybody was like, oh my God, good faith, good faith, good faith. And then boom, Sweetie Todd, which is just so, oh my God. Do you know what I'm saying? This is why I say no good faith. Like only good faith, rarely, not with grown-ups who should know better. Okay? We can't take any risks. Not in this white supremacist world. Okay? So obviously this is AI, but that's not the point. The point is like the symbol is what I'm looking at that I think is so interesting. Oh, maybe he's just playing the game, guys. Maybe he's just playing that cute game that people play with their friends. Or maybe it's a sign of white supremacy. Maybe it's a dog whistle. Okay? That's the point. Now, for people who ask, is the okay sign okay? Look, obviously in safe spaces, it could be, but I would just say, again, think about it when you're in public. Think about it in general, right? Like, think about it. Because it now means that everything does. Like, everything means something. Whether we like it or not, that's how people communicate. Your clothes are political. The way you look is political. The music you listen to is political. Like, yes, maybe in your room where nobody can see you, you get to exist outside of the political. But when you're in public socializing and we're in relationship with, now it's political. These men aren't just throwing up these signs, you know, without any attachment to what it's associated with. There is an association. So it's political. So again, if you're in public, think about things differently than when you're in private for this reason. Okay? Yeah, Chad said, even this sign, now I'm questioning. You should question it. You probably shouldn't use it on the internet. Yeah, you probably shouldn't use that in the chat. Because I guarantee you, Nick Fuentes' chat has those okay symbols posted like crazy. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Nick Fuentes, his chat is full of those emojis. Because that's what oppressors do. They take things and they change it. And that's what I'm saying. I'm saying, yes, maybe in your bubble, that's not the case, but in someone's bubble it is. And when those bubbles overlap, that's why shit hits the fan. Okay? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe, again, this is why I say everything is bubbles. Everyone's living in a different reality. Maybe your bubble never has anything to do with this. But just like Nicki Minaj posting that photo tells you there's something about this symbol, it's not just innocent. That's what I'm saying. It's not innocent. Okay? All right, let me look something up. Fun. Let me see. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay, hold on. I gotta look for something because I just realized I didn't pull it up yet. Give me a second. Where is this? Okay, I want this audio, but hold on. Oh, here, this. Okay. Okay, this is what I wanted you to see. Okay, now. Let's go like this. Let me just set this up for us. This here. Okay. Oh, this one's a heavy one. It always is, though. Some of you have already heard a lot of this stuff, so hopefully that helps. All right. So obviously, we talk a lot about patriarchy here and misogyny. And once again, as much as people want to say that, oh, you know, Hassan is doing great things for the left, Hassan is also collaborating with people like Charlemagne the God, which, regardless of how you feel about him, doesn't have a great reputation. And I think Hassan's willingness to engage with misogynistic men and for the left to ignore misogyny in their men is a part of a greater topic and issue that we have to keep talking about, because it does have an intersection, of course, with white supremacy, capitalism, and patriarchy. And I think all are at play here. Rich men sitting in a room bragging about what they've done to women. Even recently, Hassan, I featured on the stream last week, was asked, what's a blind spot you have? And he said, oh, misogyny. And he said, but you have to remember, I'm trying to cater to men. So there's an excuse there that allows the misogyny. We see this with Dark Wolf, with Kyle Kalinske. I'm allowed to throw slurs at fascists because, you know. So Charlemagne is one of those men, if you don't know, he's very charismatic. He's very, you know, entertaining. He's got, he's everywhere. He's really built himself an amazing career. He even gets spots on for the Daily Show. Like, they'll have him host. He is somebody. He has a collaboration with Andrew Schulz from Flagrant. They have a podcast together. I mean, Charlemagne has built himself something. He also is the host of The Breakfast Club, or one of the hosts. And Hassan was recently on his show. And I think the issue I always have with these men who get the benefit of the doubt is they will come out and say they've done horrible things to women, that they have, you know, been arrested for rape or other things. And then somehow they still have careers, despite I don't believe in canceling. You know, Hassan will say he encourages his fans to send him nudes. Nobody sees it as a red flag. You know, again, it's like, what are we doing here? And it's because everyone is so comfortable letting this happen that it keeps happening, right? Yeah, Chet said thoughts on Hassan starting to wear suits. We talked about this yesterday on stream. It's absolutely a signal to white supremacy. It is absolutely a choice he is making to signal to white supremacy. Like, suits are currently being co-opted by the right. It is absolutely a symbol of fascism. People in the UK are doing it as well. It is absolutely, clothing is political, and Hassan has chosen to be political in the way that he has shown up. Him doing this suits with the baseball cap, very NPR liberal. We've talked about this at length. So absolutely, I think a signal to white supremacy, whether he wants to acknowledge it or not, that is what it is. So just an example, he went on the show. Okay, go down this rabbit hole with me.
What do you think about the concept of techno-feudalism? How they say we're at the tail end of capitalism, and capitalism is morphing into this thing called techno-feudalism.
So another person who's been stopped from traveling around the not the UK, but in Germany, Yanis Varoufakis wrote about this.
Yeah, techno-feudalism will kill capitalism.
He's the man. I love him. And, you know, I'm honored to see him as a peer and a colleague nowadays. But
please tell him I would love to have him on the show.
Oh, he would definitely come on.
I read his book.
He's so charismatic too. He's so handsome. He's another one of those rich socialists. Okay, but he was the finance minister of Greece.
Yeah, Chad said suits is white supremacy. Him saying he gets taken more seriously when wearing the suits is applying to whiteness or appealing to whiteness. Absolutely.
And anyway, so he's wonderful. He's brilliant. And yes, I do agree with his analysis that the new dominion is one that is being fought on the internet, one that is being fought through these tech companies. I'll give you one example that actually ties back to my own personal experience, right? So PayPal and Venmo are American companies. And when I went to Cuba, obviously America has tremendous restrictions over what you can and can't do in Cuba. These are arbitrary, they're ridiculous. They literally can send you to prison for 10 years if you stay in the wrong hotel. Unbelievable stuff, right? Now, no such restrictions exist if you're Canadian or if you're Mexican or if you're from any other part of the world. These countries all have totally normal relations with Cuba. Of course, they can't really trade with Cuba because they're worried that America will deploy secondary sanctions on them. So that obviously harms the Cuban economy in a spectacular manner. But one of these insidious ways in which American tech companies get to enforce their arbitrary rules over two totally separate independent sovereign nations is when if you were, let's say, an Italian person, right, sending your Swiss friend money, and you.
Oop. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to get copyrighted. So that's okay. It's not important. But you see how the conversation is going? It's very matter of fact. It's about the economy. How could there be anything evil happening here? How could there be an issue with anything? Right? Okay. So they're going to shut down my stream if I keep playing that clip. It's okay. I just needed you to see the way the vibe of the conversation was going. I just want you to remember who Charlemagne is. And I want you to remember that at the end of the day, whether we like it or not, he's collabing with Andrew Schulz. He literally stands by a lot of people who are anti-Black. He has a reputation of abusing women, whether he admits it or not, even though he does. I'll show you the clip. I personally don't trust him, and I'm sick of watching people collab with him, even though when I first came across Charlemagne, I wanted to like him too. Oh, he writes books. Oh, he's a good host. He's charismatic. This is also Charlemagne talking to men about the way he treats women. Okay?
Body.
South Carolina.
On record to drugging a woman, getting her drunk, and then sleeping with her unconscious body.
South Carolina. I got this girl real drunk, and I fought.
That sentence sounds a little fishy.
I
got her drunk.
I didn't just get her drunk. I remember going. I went to the sex store and got Spanish Fly.
Oh, so you like it?
Shut up. Spanish Fly. They sell it in the sex store. I'm telling the truth. They sell it in the Spanish store. I had to fucking.
They sell knives at the store too. You could put that to a girl's throat.
Yeah,
I mean, it's legal.
So I put the Spanish Fly in the E&J. We drinking the E&J shit. So in my mind, I don't know if it really worked, but I felt like I got horny as a fucker too. Right? So she was drunk and shit, and we had sex and shit, and like a lot of my boys was trying to come in the room and fuck. I'm like, nah, chill out. I can't. I'm not doing that. I'm like, let you run the train on it. That's it. Okay, so
It's just one-on-one. Right?
Yeah, so the next morning she wakes up. And we talk about it. And she's like, "What happened?" I'm like, "Oh, we had sex." She said, "Okay, well, I'm glad it was you." Then a couple days later, she's like, "Yo, are you sure I only had sex with you?" Because one of my stupid cousins was going around saying he f***ed, which he didn't. I know for a fact he didn't. I was there the whole time. He did not. He looked at her naked, but he didn't. Right? So I'm telling her, no, me and you just had sex. Nobody else did nothing. So it just was weird that she was like, "Well, I'm just glad it was you." You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I'm like, yo, you could have been in a real bad situation if it was another.
His own wife, the first time they were intimate, she was passed out drunk. And then there's the lawsuit. The accusation that he assaulted a minor. But somehow the media stays silent.
Okay, so this interview happens on Flacco's channel 5 years ago. Those rape allegations from Jessica Reed, she's been consistent about them for many, many years. Here's Charlamagne talking about it, very casual.
Stay creepy.
Keep in mind, he uses background music, so it's going to be annoying for a second, but...
Creeping.
What's the wildest shit you ever did, like, after, like, since you gained fame with, like, either groupies or
I don't do that shit. I'm scared of that kind of shit. I done had a rape charge before.
Oh, for real?
Hell yeah, I'm scared of that kind of shit. I don't even play them.
He said, I had a rape charge before.
You got, like, a charge? How you beat that?
Because I didn't do
How did you beat the charge?
it. Was a criminal sexual conduct with a minor charge.
That mean you would have to, like, register for this.
Yeah, I was.
Right?
It was the year 2000, 2001. I think I was like 20. I was 20 years old. My cousin had just graduated from high school, and he had got a scholarship to Penn State University. And I had a party, and I had all of these chicks at a party. Like, I was doing overnights I was working at Z93 then. So I had all these chicks there that I met through radio, and chicks that my dude had no.
Yeah, this is academics, but this is it's poetic Flacco, but this is academics. Isn't Flacco and academics two different people? But this is academics on Flacco's channel.
I used to always see this chick with my dude. So I bought, I invited her to the party. So she was at the party and shit. She got drunk, high, whatever. Something happened in the room with a couple of my dudes. I'm asking them, did they mess with the chick, after the fact, after she pressed charges? And they was like, no. But they was like, yo, she's bugging. I remember the night of, they was like, yo, she's in here bugging out. She's kicking over the TV and she's trying to set shit on fire. I'm like, what the fuck? Because I had left. So the next morning, I'm hearing she said she got raped. She got raped. So I go to the hood to ask what happened. They like, yeah, my cousin who had got the scholarship, yeah, he's in jail now. What you mean he's in jail? He's in jail. They said he raped the girl. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I go down to the jailhouse, talk to the detective myself. No, ain't got no one for me. I just told the detective, like, hey, look, I take full responsibility for anything that happened in the house last night.
You gonna take the case?
No, but I told her, I said, as far as I know, because I asked around, did anybody fuck? I'm like, yo, nobody got raped, yada, yada, yada.
So your cousin graduates high school and you throw a party and kids are there because he's a high schooler. And you throw a party, I'm assuming with alcohol. And I'm assuming it gets out of hand. And you don't think anything happened in that house and you're taking responsibility for everything that happened?
They didn't even have my cousin in custody. My other cousins was fucking with me because they was mad they didn't get invited to the party. Hating ass motherfuckers. So my cousin wasn't even in custody. So I went down to the jailhouse for nothing. So I'm like, yo, I take full responsibility for everything. I bought the alcohol. They was like, well, you're not even of age to buy alcohol. And I'm like, well, how'd you get it? Well, I got a crackhead to get it for me.
This is the craziest story.
Whatever.
They went down there copping out pleas with
they had to do shit. Damn. So 2 weeks later, they come and arrest me for criminal sexual conduct with a minor. So I had to get blood and hair follicles.
Oh, for you going down there to initially explain it?
They ain't had nobody else depending on. So being that I went down there and took full responsibility, well, lock him up.
Did it get through, you got indicted on it and everything? Or?
Nah, I went to court. And they reduced the charges to like contributing to the delinquency of a minor because I had to give blood and all DNA samples, and it wasn't me. Whoever touched it wasn't me.
So you didn't get no jail time over that?
Nah, I got like probation, like 4 or 5 months probation or something like that.
Man.
Something light.
That's so. I mean,
so that's the reason I don't play those games with females. I don't play games like that. Like if I'm kicking it with you, I'm kicking it with you. I'm not bringing no randoms over. Somebody I just met from the club. Some chick I just met. Like I go through a process. I talk on the phone with girls. I take them out with me a few times before I even try to get at them. Like I got to see where they head at. You know what I mean?
Oh, you taking chicks out on dates?
I mean, I wouldn't call them dates, but they come with me where I'm at. You know what I mean? If I'm at a club, hosting a party or something, yeah, you can come through, have a good time. You know? Black, dark black, light skin. It ain't about whether you're white. It ain't about whether you know, Asian, Puerto Rican. It just matters about if you're pretty or not. That's what these girls won't. That's the harsh truth they won't grasp. It ain't about your skin color. Are you pretty or not?
Okay, so then here's this one.
Acknowledging bullshit that I've done. They said I raped my wife because I read an article in Teen Vogue, and the Teen Vogue, the article was is drunk sex rape.
Right.
So I talked about the first time me and my wife had sex with each other. Same, I guess, kind of the same thing you're
I
talking
understand
about.
what you're saying. Yeah,
and we were drunk.
But clickbait is dangerous. I remember that happening to you.
Mm-hmm.
People choose to take a thing. I mean, it's the same thing they do to Mark Ronson. I'm sapiosexual. He never said I'm sapiosexual. And then people are like, he was on a TV show. Someone's like, oh, that's sapiosexual. Hey, Mark, would you be sapiosexual?
What is
He's like,
sapiosexual?
it's people who say they are only attracted to people's intelligence, not gender, not looks, not anything. It's a thing people put in their like Tinder profiles. It's trash. Because I mean, what are the rest of us? I'm only attracted to intelligence, nothing else. Anyway, so what I'm saying is clickbait is dangerous because it removes nuance.
Then For Harriet, which, you know, I love For Harriet, 7 years ago covered Charlemagne, his accusations, and talked about the consistency of Jessica Reed. And this whole video is great, but just to give you some ideas.
He has now had to actually address some of that and, you know, not be called a rapist because, you know, time's up. We getting the rapists out of here. So Charlemagne is trying to keep his job. He talked about it on The Breakfast Club. He even called up his wife. So I have not seen this clip. We're going to watch it together, and I'm gonna talk about it.
You're watching The Breakfast Club.
Oh my God.
I believe the headline was Charlemagne raped his wife.
No, it says Charlemagne admits. Don't just make up a headline. It says Charlemagne admits first sexual experience with his wife was rape.
Who posted that?
Madame Noir.
Okay. Well, that stems from a conversation I was having on my podcast about rape culture, and I mean, it was a lot of op-eds and think pieces last year, but I remember Teen Vogue in particular had a headline, you know, is drunk sex considered rape? So my wife and I were discussing it, you know, because the first time we had sex, we were, you know, super young and super, super drunk. So I asked her, did she consider that?
I feel like it should go without saying that if somebody is not able to consent, meaning if they're drunk or high or under the influence of drugs, then you should not have sex with them. And I recognize, because, you know, I used to be young. I was young. I recognize that sometimes it does get a little, when both parties are drinking, it gets a little fuzzy, right? But like, let's just say that if I am not in a position to operate a vehicle, then I am not in a position to consent to sex. Like that's an easy.
Consensual sex based off the conversation that was happening online. And, you know, the audio clip they got circulating online, of course, it's edited and it stops at me just saying, yeah, but she told me, yeah, I can see how people say that, but that's not what happened with us. It's not like I said no.
Well, let me call her.
Stop acting like you have her phone number. I gave you her number, okay?
Let me call her.
That's so crazy.
And Charlemagne would definitely call your wife if need be.
That is not true.
Yes,
I would
you
never.
Definitely had Envy call his wife when he was in the middle of some trauma.
Let me call her. Hold on.
Mook.
Yeah.
Do you feel like discussing this headline? You know, I've never called you to have you on the radio. The last time you've been on the radio.
Listen, you know shit is real when niggas is calling they wives. You know. Okay, let's go.
So was 1999 at Z93 Jams in Charleston, South Carolina, New Year's Eve. We kissed on the radio.
Wow.
You remember that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, so talk to the people, baby. Did I rape you the first time we had sex with each other?
Ah, that is like the craziest shit said out loud ever by a married man. And by the way, we wouldn't even be in this position if he didn't describe the first time he had sex with his wife as rape. Do you know what I'm saying? We wouldn't even be here if Charlemagne didn't tell that story that way. Do you know what I'm saying?
Leonard, you need to learn.
Wait a minute. Do y'all see somebody in the studio braiding? Wait. We have to go back. Someone is braiding Angela. y'all.
She's literally getting her hair braided while there's a show.
Wow, super black. I'm sorry. Back
Did I
to
rape you
the
the first time we had sex with each other?
Ugh.
Leonard, you need to learn how to
First of all, only Monique calls me Lenard. I'm just playing. Go ahead.
No, I call you Leonard. Forget that. You need to learn how to tell stories. You shouldn't have used the word rape, first of all, because the conversation that we were having is about rape culture.
Also, I was not expecting Charlamagne's wife to sound like this. I don't know what I was expecting. Okay, well, it wasn't. Okay, I'm disoriented right now.
So the conversation that we were having was that you felt like it was okay for you to have sex with me while I was intoxicated. That's a rape culture thing. That's not rape. So when you asked me that question, I was hesitant.
But listen to what she says. Listen to what she says.
That's a rape culture thing. That's not rape. You felt like it was okay for you.
You felt it was okay to have sex with me while I was drunk. Off the back of 2 stories in which he caught a charge for a minor and where he bragged about drugging a woman and having sex with her. That's why I'm telling you the story is true and they're trying to save face. Because now there's 3 stories with Charlamagne. 3. And that's the problem. Why do I have 3 stories about Charlamagne now?
You to have sex with me while I was
all of which I wouldn't have known any of them if Charlamagne also didn't tell stories, but one of the victims did come forward, and that was Jessica Reed.
Intoxicated. That's a rape culture thing. That's not rape. So when you asked me that question, I was hesitant to answer you because you used the word rape, but I mean, that's not what went down. Like, we both know what happened. And I was not passed out. I was very coherent. Like, enough for me to lift up my hips so you could take my panties off.
Knock it off. Whoa. Jesus Christ.
Which is not okay, that does not mean you're coherent. You can do a lot of things. Listen, I can't tell you how many times I have full-blown conversations with my partner only to realize they were sleep talking to me. It doesn't mean that they're awake and cognizant. We actually had to put things in place for both of us to make sure, like, no, can you hear? Are you awake? Are you awake? Because I'm telling you, my partner is so convincing when they sleep talk that I'm like, were you not awake for that? They're like, oh, I don't remember that. And I was like, so like, that does not count for me. Her saying she was cognizant enough to take off her underwear, that doesn't mean anything. You know what I'm saying? How many videos of completely blacked out drunk people do we have to see? Walk, talk, interact, only to realize they're not going to remember any of this, you know?
I'm sorry. Like, that's what happened. You know that's what happened. And the next morning, we had sex. So.
You had sex the next morning?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Your memory is for you don't remember anything. And first kiss that night, too.
That was our first kiss that night.
Wow, you guys dated for a year? That was your first kiss?
She made me wait for a year.
Yes.
You couldn't even get, she didn't like you really at first.
What are you talking about? We used to go on dates all the time.
Hey, y'all never kissed for a year?
She's a good woman, okay? All right.
Angela, are you questioning me? Like, what's up?
No, I'm just saying a year. For a kiss?
Yes, for a kiss.
I know this might be inappropriate.
Okay, well, don't ask it then.
Was he good? Was he at least good?
Yeah, have a good morning, baby. I don't know why y'all be acting like my wife the one for smoke. She has no problem giving the smoke, okay?
I don't understand the point of that.
Oh, Chad says he speaks English while sleep talking. I'd assume he dreams in Croatian. Oh, he sometimes talks to me in Croatian too. And then I know he's sleeping. He does. He sometimes talks to me in Croatian and I'm like, ne razumijem hrvatski. Like, I'll sit there and I'm like looking at him like, hello? So he does. That's what I know he's sleep talking. You know what I mean?
What was that supposed to establish? It was supposed to, I guess, establish that his wife doesn't feel violated and therefore he's not a rapist?
Exactly.
What?
Now, in contrast to this story, and I'm so sorry, super trigger wording for this story, guys. Earlier in the clip that I showed you about Charlamagne, he said, when I drugged that girl and I was sleeping with her, and she said, oh, I'm glad it was you. A bunch of the guys came around and they wanted to run train on her. And I want to talk about this idea. Hold on. I'm so sorry. Gosh, I didn't pull up the TikTok already ahead of time. So welcome to a live stream. Let me see if I can find it really fast. This girl shares her story about being, quote, one of those girls that let guys run train. And I'm telling you, it's not a consensual thing. It is a rape situation. So when Charlamagne says, oh, I didn't let my buddies run train, and then the next day the girl goes, okay, I'm glad it was you. That's her saying, I don't remember who it was. That that it was rape. You know, that's what I'm saying. That he remembers the story from his perspective. He has all of these memories and all of these stories. And from hers, she doesn't have the memory. So she's asking him to confirm what happened to her. Okay, now give me a second to find this TikTok because it's about this woman's story of how it happened to her. And I was so devastated to hear it. But it's exactly why these things happen. Hold on, give me a second. I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. This is rape culture. This is patriarchy. This is just really horrible. It's horrible. Here we go.
Ran on them in high school. Since to the girls who got a train ran on them in high school, since we all grown now, what was the sales pitch for them to get you to say yes?
Okay, let's talk about it because I was one of those girls that had a train ran on her. I really was. And I mean, it's not anything that I'm proud of, but if no one else is going to speak on it, I'll speak on it. First of all, to answer your question, there is no sales pitch. There's actually no discussion at all. And of course, I can only speak for myself, but I guarantee you majority of the girls that ended up in this situation can relate to it. You're hanging out with a guy that you like and you think likes you. And of course, his friends are around, but you're not paying him no mind. It's just you and him. Y'all go into a room and you begin to become intimate. And next thing you know, you look up and there's 4 or 5 guys standing around you waiting for their turn. And there was no discussion, there's no asking, there's just grabbing, there's just touching, there's just inserting. And of course you have one of 2 options. You can jump up and say, get off of me, or you can go along with it. And I was just someone who just went along with it because I did not know what else to do. I don't care how many talks you have with your parents about sex and relationships and all that. Nobody is telling you about that situation. Nobody is saying, oh, there might be a time where you're becoming intimate with a boy and all his friends think they can have a turn. Then once you've done it the one time, you start to think, well, why should I even say no? Because I've already done it before. And it just becomes a pattern. You know, I saw a lot of people in those comment sections kind of making light of it and joking and being like, oh, I asked my cousin and now she's mad at me. The reason that she's mad is because that's probably something that she put in the depths of her mind. I know I did. I try not to think about it. I try not to remember it. And really the only reason that I'm talking about it is because that video just like triggered me so bad. And I said, I have to speak out if I'm going to be the only one to speak out. That shit is not fun. And that shit like really fucks with your brain because then it's like, okay, did he ever really like me? Is this what he needs to like me? I was 14 years old and that was literally my second sexual experience ever. And there's a lot of trauma in my life as well, you know, essay as a child and all sorts of things, being the fat girl that no one ever thought was pretty. And so this guy thinks that I'm pretty and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, y'all, please show a little bit of compassion, show a little bit of empathy. Like, no one's just running out to do that shit for fun.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Devastating. I'm so proud of her for sharing her story. I'm devastated that that's her story. I'm devastated that, you know, Charlamagne gets out here and tells these stories about drugging women and running train and not running train. And chat said this is like Tupac's victim. So in the Tupac story, allegedly this girl was sweet on Tupac. Tupac was sweet on this girl. They go into a bedroom. They start to do stuff. Tupac gets kind of like annoyed or disinterested. He goes to walk away and his guys, his buddies are waiting to pounce on her. And she was there for him. He leaves because whatever. His friends find this as an opportunity to rape her. They rape her. The next day, Tupac is arrested and Tupac goes, I had nothing to do with it. I had nothing. You left her there knowing your friends were, I think the words they used, hungry for her. So they were basically a bunch of men in a room, just like waiting for an opportunity. And Tupac left her. And that's why we say, like, we can't even trust these men that we're attracted to, that we're sweet on to protect us because they don't even think about us. And so Tupac went to prison for rape. And again, like when we have these conversations, it is very important to recognize it is the fact that you're in the room, if you're just watching, if you're engaging, if you're abandoning. So here's Hasan Piker, you know, talking to Charlamagne the God, being on the Breakfast Club, people talking to Charlamagne, people acting like this man doesn't have a past of telling story after story, you know?
They monetize our emotions, and the greatest currency in the cloud capital is conflict. So
then here's Charlamagne acting like he's some, you know, great thinker, some great philosopher, this great icon, you know, who's going to sit here and move the community in a direction. Where's that direction exactly when we have audio of you talking to your boys like this?
Spanish fly. They sell it in the sex store. I'm telling the truth. They sell it in the Spanish store. I had to fucking.
They sell knives in the sex store too. You could put that to a girl's throat.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's illegal.
So I put the Spanish fly in the E&J. We drinking the E&J shit. So in my mind, I don't know if it really worked, but I felt like I got horny as a fucker too. Right? So she.
Okay, I'll put the For Harriet video in the chat so you guys can watch her. But this isn't a joke. You know, this is very serious. Now, let me just one more clip from Harriet, actually. Let me show it to you. I believe it is.
Okay, so
over here.
One, homophobia, classism ago, 5 years ago.
Okay.
Here, like, don't waste my time. Don't pretend like we're done. Time's up. If we are not going to seriously reckon with the fact that perhaps we didn't know better, right? I've done lots of stuff in the past before I was, I don't consider myself to be woke, but I know a lot more now than I did 10 years ago.
This is young for Harriet, so I don't know what she means by that, but you're going to give her grace. Okay? Because we all go through stages. She's a millennial.
5 years ago, 3 years ago, and I realized that because I didn't know enough, that I potentially hurt people, that I violated people's boundaries, that I perpetuated homophobia, classism, transphobia, all of that sort of stuff. So when somebody says you did this and it was wrong, I have to be honest about it. I'm not going to bring out my gay friend to say, remember when I called you the F word? That didn't hurt your feelings, did it? Like, what is going on? Also, I have a problem with the fact that Charlamagne is talking about this specific thing with his wife, which really wasn't even the real big deal. The real issues are with a woman saying in 2001, Charlamagne raped her. She's come forward and said she was 15 years old. She did not give consent. She's said that for now 17 years. That's an issue. Another issue is about a story that he told on Brilliant Idiots where he said he had sex with a woman while she was under the influence of Spanish fly. Now, I know Spanish fly is supposed to be a fun drug, it's supposed to be an aphrodisiac, but actually, let's just put in a clip here about the way it was described.
I remember a scenario in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I got this girl real drunk, and
Pause. I got this girl real drunk. Case closed. Rape. I got this girl real drunk. That's it. Case closed.
Just that sentence sounds a little fishy. I got her drunk.
This is the same audio we've been listening to.
I didn't just get her drunk. I remember I went to the sex store and got Spanish fly. Oh, so you raped her?
Oh, so you raped her?
Shut up. Spanish fly. They sell it in the sex store. I'm telling the truth. They spell it in the Spanish store. I had to fucking.
Do you know what I'm saying? Why are we even having this fucking discussion? Why does this man have a platform? Why is Hassan Piker collaborating with him? Why is he considered a thoughtful person? Why is The Daily Show giving him time slots? Is there nobody better in the community? Can we get somebody? Can we get a man, please, who doesn't have a story like this, let alone 3?
It's a sex store too. You can put that to a girl's throat. Yeah, sex store. That doesn't mean it's illegal. So I put the Spanish fly in the E&J. We drinking the E&J and shit. So in my mind, I don't know if this shit really worked, but I felt like I got horny as a motherfucker too. Right? So,
see, why does he say that? Oh, I feel like I got horny as a motherfucker too. Because he was trying to get her horny so she would sleep with him. And so he could basically rape her. Oh, I got this girl really drunk. Oh, I was getting horny too. What do you mean? If it was an aphrodisiac where both of you were consenting to getting horny together, like taking E, wouldn't you both be horny? It's the fact that he was surprised he was also horny. Because he was trying to get her intoxicated so she would have sex with him.
So she was drunk as shit, and we had sex and shit, and like a lot of my boys was trying to come in the room and fuck her. I'm like, nah, chill, like, I can't, I'm not doing that. I'm like, let's run a train on that.
Oh, but he let the men look at her naked. He admits that he lets the men look at her. So the men wanted to come in and rape her, and he goes, no. Only I'm gonna rape her. And basically, oh, but they did look at her naked though.
Okay, so right. In the room and fuck her. I'm like, nah, chill, like, I can't, I'm not doing that. I'm like, let's run a train on it. That's rape. Okay. So,
oh, I'm not gonna let them run a train. That's rape. But what I did wasn't rape. And me letting my boys see her naked isn't rape.
Right. So it's just one-on-one and ain't rape. Yeah. So the next trains are rape. So
even his guy is calling him out and saying, so 1-on-1's not rape, but 3-on-1 is rape. And then they're laughing.
The next morning she wakes up. And we talk about it. And she's like, what happened? Oh shit.
Like, we had sex. She said, okay,
So she doesn't remember it, and she goes, hey, what happened last night? This is why we're saying you shouldn't have sex with people that are intoxicated, because if they have to wake up the next day and say, hey, what happened? How can they consent if they don't even remember what happened? This is why I'm saying, do you love this person? Do you respect this person? Do you see them as the consciousness they are? Do you have enough dignity to treat these people with respect? Obviously not. And now, after years later, to come on this podcast and to have this conversation, you know what I'm saying? This is why we have to say, stop collaborating with these men. Stop saying, oh, they grew. If they really grew, they would take themselves out of the running. They wouldn't allow themselves to be seen as good role models. Like, you literally have multiple stories, and you say it like it's a joke. And then here's Hassan Piker on a podcast recently with them. And this is why I'm saying I do not trust these men. These men cannot be trusted.
Glad it was you. Then a couple days later, she's like, yo, you sure I only had sex with you? And one of my stupid ass cousins was going around saying he fucked her, which he didn't. I know for a fact he didn't. I was there the whole time. Yeah. He did not fuck her. Yeah. He looked at her naked, but he didn't fuck her, right? So I'm telling her, no, me and you just had sex. Nobody else did nothing. So it just was weird. And she was like, well, I'm just glad it was you. You know what I'm saying? Because in my mind, I'm like, yo, you could have been in a real bad.
Yeah. It's interesting. Chat says only the women who jump through purity hoops deserve their respect and love to them. And then he said, oh, my wife and I dated for a year. We didn't even kiss. So you wouldn't even kiss your girlfriend for a year, which I do not believe. But you were happy to rape women. By your own admission. That's not me saying it. That's Charlemagne saying it. His friends saying it. They're calling it rape. Listen, I'm agreeing with them. I agree with Charlemagne's friends. It was rape. Okay? You know what I'm saying? I agree with his friends. It was rape.
Bad situation if it was another motherfucker.
That's a huge compliment, man. A girl just said, yo.
That's Andrew Schultz's voice.
At least you raped me. I didn't rape her.
So that's Andrew making jokes. Like, oh, hey, at least, you know what I'm saying? That's Andrew.
I did not rape her. I did not rape her. If it was any of your cousins.
Oh, now he's like, oh, I didn't rape her. I didn't rape her.
Friends have been raped.
I didn't rape her because me and her had every intention of having sex with each other.
So then why would you put the Spanish fly?
I'm still a freaky motherfucker, but listen, my whole...
So then Andrew says, if you weren't trying to rape her and you guys were planning to have sex, why'd you need the Spanish fly?
Passed out while you fucked her.
Nah, she wasn't like... She was like one of those drunks where... No, listen. No, she was one of those drunks where like... She was one of those drunks where she was like... she wasn't coherent, but she was up.
So she wasn't coherent, but she was up. I'm sorry that I have to repeat this because I don't want you guys to hear this as background noise and you don't hear what he's saying. I'm repeating what he is saying in case you're missing it. In case somehow on your drive to work, you're not listening. He is literally telling us verbatim how disgusting of a person he is.
Girls is like when you're blacked out, like that, don't know what the fuck's going on type shit. Like she was really...
She was awake and she was into it.
She was wasted. Yeah, she was...
Her eyes were not rolling in the back of her head.
No.
Okay. Was she snoring while you were...
It was just weird because while we was having sex, she was... Because one of my homeboys used to fuck her on the regular.
So if you are not going to deal with that, then what is we doing? What are you doing? I'm a see what is here.
I'll say this. If somebody is drunk and not coherent, if they're passed out, if they're not making decisions, if you feel like they wouldn't want to have, like you can't really tell, but I've had sex with people before when I've been tipsy, but it's always been people that I've had sex with already. We have a rapport, we're comfortable with each other, and that's how that happens. If you feel like in your head this person is drunk and they may wake up and say what happened or they may not want to, best to not do it. And if there's any question, if you feel like they're in any way not in their right mind, just walk away, just go to sleep, do whatever you have to do, but you shouldn't, if there's any question at all, don't do it.
Yeah, I mean, that's my advice to people, you know.
Okay, Angela Yee being the voice of reason, you know, you never know what Angela's gonna do. No shade, but Angela becoming a disappointing sometimes. But that was a very reasonable comment there.
I'm saying I wouldn't recommend young men engage in drunk sex, high sex, Molly Percocet sex. I just think it's too much of a gray area. You know what I mean? Like I just think it's too much of a gray area. Just wait until both parties are sober. And I mean, that's a message that I think we need to give the high school kids, college kids, shoot, even some grown men need that message. Like sometimes it's best just to walk away, wait for another day.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like Pat Charlemagne needed that message. I'm glad he's saying that, but it's a little too late.
And drunk sex is not consensual. I mean, if you're drunk, that's not a defense mechanism or a defense thing that you can use. No, it absolutely positively is not.
This is what I hate about people who make a whole reputation talking about raping women or being racist, turning around and being like, guys, we should not be racist. Guys, we should not. This is literally Trisha Paytas making a whole career on being racist to be like, guys, racism's bad. And everyone's like, wow, girl, you ate with that. Amazing, Trisha. And here's Charlamagne literally talking about raping women and being like, guys, you should have sober sex. And everyone's like, wow, Charlamagne, yes. You already built the reputation. You already did the thing. You did the thing. You got famous. You got rich. And now everyone is turning around like, these are the people. I'm sick of it. I'm sick. I'm tired.
And I think the best advice, like you said, is if you're drunk or if she's drunk, don't have sex.
You remember we was in Jamaica? What year?
And yeah, when Charlamagne says the gray area, what I'm hearing from him is he doesn't want a rape accusation. Not because he's worried about the woman or he's worried about raping her. He's worried about being accused. That's what I hear when men say gray area. Yeah, Chad says too much of a gray area. I hate the concern is still men's potential to get in trouble for it. Exactly. Yes, Chad, agree 100% with you. And not considering the hurt, the messing with someone's body that they're not fully aware. Exactly. Can cause 100%. That's what I hear too when Charlamagne says like a gray area.
Oh yeah, so we were in Jamaica and there was a young lady who was at the pool with us. She was from Cleveland. She was very excited to be out there with us. And she was so drunk, one of Charlamagne's friends
was going
to walk her back to the room. And I said, I'm coming with you.
Oh yeah, I remember.
I walked with him to walk her back to the room so there would never be a question.
He told you to turn the camera on.
I didn't turn the camera on.
Well, he told you.
I was with him though, but I wasn't going to do that to her because she was drunk.
Yep.
But I did walk back to the room with them just to make sure that there was no questions, you know.
Who are you hanging around?
I made sure she got into bed and then we left together just because I want to make sure we're not in a situation ever where somebody is drunk and she was clearly inebriated, like pretty bad. And I just didn't want to have.
So is she afraid about Charlamagne's friend raping a random woman? Is that the story that the man they are with, she's so worried he's going to rape her? Is that what I'm hearing?
Any issues, after that.
And she was all over him too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She was all over him, but.
She was all over him because she was drunk. Because she was drunk. Charlamagne is insinuating that like, it's like, what is this conversation?
Because at the end of the day, you don't know what somebody does. Like, yeah, we might know him, that's your boy. But if she said something, I'm not in the room, so I can't. So that's why I was in the room, so I can say nothing happened.
Not only that, the person might not remember if somebody feels like, it was consensual. Somebody might not remember. Like, I mean, I just remember one time I was so drunk, I can't tell you what happened that night. And thank God it was my baby shower and my wife brought me home. But
I saw you that night.
I remember I couldn't tell you what happened that night. And the cameraman's laughing because he was there. Like, I don't remember. They said I gave a speech.
Yeah, you did.
I was throwing.
You doing a lot of dancing to reggae.
I just don't remember.
You was twerking.
I was twerking?
Yeah.
I do have
video footage.
I figured.
Her drive was there.
But my whole point is just leave it alone. It's not that serious ever.
Salem.
Hey, you guys remember?
Uh-oh.
Oh, girl, the Breakfast Club is trash. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
I agree.
Okay, so I think that I watched the Breakfast Club when they had interviews with interesting guests, but they do not have the range to deal with any sort of serious issue.
Agree, 100% agree. So for them to have Hassan Piker on, for Hassan Piker to go on this show, and again, like, why is Hassan Piker doing this interview? Like, is Hassan Piker a great activist who's trying to get the word out about something important? Or is he just a guy building his career and trying to be seen by the famous people? Because to me, he's a clout chaser. To me, Hassan at this point is clout chasing and building his resume and networking to just become more popular. He's not sitting there making, like, he's not what I see as like a great activist who's trying to make, you know what I mean? He's not a great leader. He's just a guy who's trying to become famous. So to me, this is disgusting. Going on the Breakfast Club is disgusting. Talking to Charlamagne is disgusting. And I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of seeing this. And then people go like, Brittany, you can't criticize Hassan. They're like, this isn't okay. Marginalized people can't just, This is him building his resume. He's doing this to become more rich and famous. I'm telling you right now, the island is on fire. Hassan's in the plane saying he's going to come back for everybody. And he's not coming back, girls. He is absolutely, you made him famous. You decided to back this guy. And I'm saying a lot of these men are doing this to build their own reputations, their own like wallets. They're not doing it for people. The real people who are helping their communities are people whose names you will never know. The real people building up their communities are people who, when they are in these interviews, are very serious. There's like a seriousness to it that just doesn't happen with a lot of these men who are trying to build buddy-buddy with all of these people.
So has outrage become a business model?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it's always what has sold newspapers as well, but
it bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is definitely. I mean, it's more dangerous than.
Like, tell me this: what if I went on Charlamagne's show at the Breakfast Club and I told you guys, you have to trust me. I need to collaborate with Charlamagne to get the message out. Would you not think bad of me? So why would they think bad of me but not of Hassan? And I'm saying listen, I know the reason I use myself as an example is because I'm tangible and real and I can directly talk to my audience. And my audience holds me to a higher standard, and the standard isn't Brittany's standard, it's the ethics we decide to prescribe to, right? We prescribe to progressive leftist values, which means we have to value informed consent. So I can't do a collaboration with someone like Charlemagne if my values are informed consent, right? Why is Hassan doing a collaboration with him? I'm not saying I want to be Hassan. I'm not saying I want this position. I'm saying if I was to be a person aiming for this position, would you not say to me, Brittany, how does this relate to the framework of leftist value? And that's what the criticism is. Because I know Hassan fans are always like, oh, you just want his position. If I wanted his position, I would be collaborating with Charlemagne the God. If I wanted his position, I would be collaborating with Asmin and Destiny and all these men over and over again, regardless of our problems. I would be collabing with Nick Fuentes, like all of Hassan has done. I would have continued collabing with all of these people instead of saying absolutely not. If I wanted Hassan's job, I would be doing this, but I'm not doing this. If I wanted Hassan's position, I would have been nicer to Hassan. I would have pulled my punches. I don't want his position, and that's because I cannot engage in his position without being unethical. It would be against my ethics to do what Hassan Piker does to become popular, like collaborating with Charlemagne the God.
Because we've never had, due to technological limitations, this level of involvement in what people feel about themselves and about others, right? I mean, you can conduct a psychographic profile on a person down to the zip code, down to the house, and figure out, what time of the day where they're more likely to order a McDonald's hamburger. And then you can adjust the pricing as many of these apps.
They do. And I love that he's talking about these things. I think it's important. I just wish we had a better person advocating for ourselves. Because this goes into, hold on, let me see if I have the TikTok. Because I know some people were like, why do people focus on Hassan Piker, as a person instead of the policies he's talking about? And it's because people don't rally behind policies. They rally behind people. And so they need the people to be the person we're fighting for to represent us. Hassan is basically saying, hey, can I represent you? And I'm saying no, can we have a different guy, please? Charlemagne the God was this advocate for the Black community. Maybe pick another one. Okay, when Ellen DeGeneres was our advocate for the gay community, we're like, new one. We're picking a new one now. Okay, I don't think I have this TikTok saved on my favorites. I maybe just watched it. Oh, sad. Okay, I'll keep looking while I talk to you. But the point is, right, is that is what this positioning is. That is what Hassan Piker is asking for. And I'm saying we need a different representation. Hello? Representative, no. Different representative, please. Okay? And that's what it is going to be for everything. That's why you go after certain people. Look, the reason I even criticize Chelsea Fagan is because in every interview that NPR does with her or anybody else, it's you are the only person on the left who's a woman talking about this. So now she's representing women on the left who care about economics. And I'm saying new representation. What do you mean second house in France? New representation. That's what I'm saying. If you are going to be the only person, if when referencing women in finance and you're the only name that comes up, then you are now the reputation. I don't understand why people want to be the only voice, the most famous voice, the one doing all the interviews. You want none of the responsibility of what that means to be interviewed. Why do you think they're interviewing you? Because you're the girl. Why are they interviewing Hassan? Because he's the guy. I don't understand how all these people get to so much popularity, so much wealth, so much status, and then sit there and go, I'm just a guy. My name is Charlie Cook, and I'm just a guy. You're not just a guy. If you were just a guy, they wouldn't be interviewing you. This is why even Trevor Noah to Hassan was like, you're not just a guy, though. Stop saying you're just a guy. And it sounds like, I'm just a kid. I'm just a boy. I'm just a baby. And even Trevor Noah's like, but you're not. You're like the guy. You're like the guy. That's all I'm trying to say is stop pretending. And this is really a message to the audience is stop pretending these are just the guys. Okay? Even with Dean Withers the other day being dragged for not knowing what Abu Ghraib is, that's because you guys made a fetus the largest guy with a microphone on stream, the biggest debate bro, because you guys decided he was good enough because he hated Republicans. This can't be good enough. Stop making the wrong people famous, and then we can talk about accountability. This is what I'm saying. It is us and it is them. It is the elites and it is us. It is the billionaires and it is us. We keep making the wrong people famous. And that's on us. It really is. Okay? Chet says, Brady, do you have a woman in mind, specifically in mind, who you would want to be a mouthpiece poster child and whose a voice we should be uplifting? No, because I also think that's the wrong way to think about it. We should not be up pedestaling people. We should not be pedestaling anyone. We should be pedestaling collectives. There should be groups of people that are working on behalf of the people, and the groups of people are the group. It shouldn't be one person. It should be like a group of 10 people who are like the representatives, and then those 10 people have these 10 people, and these 10 people have these 10 people, and then it comes down, we should be working as a community, as a collective. It should not be one person. It should be like, oh, here's the group, and the group represents the group, and the group stays in check by the group, and all of us keep each other in check. And as people get a little too rusty or a little too conservative, they get replaced with a more progressive, younger, or more established person. Okay? That's my vision, is a collective. A collective. So that way we can keep each other accountable with love and compassion. We can switch people out without the whole movement breaking down. Because if it's one person, and the one person who's a human and isn't perfect has a bad moment, now the collective movement is broken. But if it's a group, then no problem. One person can be going through something, it happens, and then we can replace this person with somebody else and it can still stay stable, right? But because it's only one person, it's like the whole thing falls. If you want, it's a reverse pyramid, if you will. Okay, so right now the setup is this. This is the setup. Okay, and so we have Hassan as an example. Okay, so Hassan is holding all of us up. And so if Hassan goes, everything's going to crumble. So I'm like, why are we doing this, bro? Reverse the image. It should kind of look like this, where it's all of us, okay, all of us lifting up a group of people who exist here. Okay. And it should be a group. It should be a group. That way, if one person is out for the count, that's okay. We can put somebody else in their place. And so it continues, because we are people. We are flawed. We're going to have problems. Someone's going to get Alzheimer's and cancer, and there's going to be a death in the family, and somebody's past is going to get, dug up, and we're going to say, hey, not good enough, replace. But we need to build a foundation that's solid on values and ethics and morals. And then we have to come to an agreement together as a collective to uplift a few of the voices to represent us. And then, like I said, this is the problem, is we keep going to one person. Who's the one person? There isn't just one person. That's why I say, like, the people who are the most important in your communities, they will be people who are local. You won't even know their name, but people will know them as a group, So yeah, that's my answer to that. But I understand that Hassan is a testament of the, he's just like, he was there at the right time. He looks the way he looks. He speaks the way he speaks. He's charismatic. He's talented. He gives a lot of hope to a lot of people. I just think if all those people were introspective and did the work, they'd realize, like, ooh, they're not decentering men. They're not doing the work. They're not challenging their white supremacist beliefs. They're not understanding how much anti-Blackness exists in Hassan's community, how much misogyny, how many problems. And so ableism and transphobia, and they would do the work. And then, the viewership would basically be a little bit, well, it wouldn't be this. And so again, like, I think he perfectly rises to power under frameworks of oppression, because he's exactly everything that framework of oppression is willing to promote. He's white, he's able-bodied, and he's rich. Now, of course, if Hassan ever really truly acknowledged the disability his neurodivergency probably plays in his life, he would be seen as weak, and patriarchy would eat him up. So he can't be weak in front of patriarchy. If he actually was engaging in sort of like, admitting how rich he was, then people would realize how, wait, what am I doing supporting this guy who's literally set for life? Well, I don't even know if I'm going to retire, or my kids are going to be able to afford school, or I'm going to feed my kids tomorrow. We have a mother who her child was shot to death because she was allegedly stealing diapers from a Walmart. A child died because his mother needed diapers, and we have Hassan Piker sitting here in his fucking stupid suits and his fucking stupid house with his fucking stupid money, talking about on a live stream like, oh, this is, I shop at Amazon sometimes, because like I could save money, Like, what are we talking about? Like, what are we talking about? Okay, I'm annoyed. I mean, I gotta still say it, and this will be my activism. This will be my hill that I will die on, that there is a red flag here that we need to pay attention to. And it's two men sitting in a room where Hassan Piker just 2 weeks ago was making fun of a woman who was laughing with a man about, oh, she's a piece of ass though. And, oh, Elon's cum, and all these really disgusting misogynistic things, laughing in a room, telling his fans, I encourage it, send me nudes. I'm telling you, this is all connected. Okay, so you can feel the way you feel about it, but I'm telling you right now, it's all connected. These men hang out together, support each other, promote each other, while the rest of us sit and wait, and they keep telling us, just wait, I'll help you out when I can get to you. Okay, girl. Gross. This collaboration is gross to me. Anyways, any thoughts? Just said valid crash out. Thank you for putting verbiage to something I've been struggling with for a while. Bro, I'm sick. I'm so tired of it. And then they call these women obsessed. You're mentally ill. You're just jealous. Oh yeah, I'm super jealous of grown men who talk about raping women. I'm super fucking jealous. I'm super jealous of a man who tells his fans, send me nudes. Yeah, I'm super fucking jealous. That's definitely what's going on over here. Are you fucking serious? Like, yeah, that's what I'm jealous about. Come on. Like, be so fucking serious. That's what I'm saying. These men are so unserious. They're getting wealthy off of our pain. And then they're turning around and telling us that we need to shut up and sit down because they're helping us. That we should be grateful for the work they're doing on our behalf. Okay, girl. Okay, girl. Chess said if I had the money he did, you would not be able to waterboard it out of me if I shopped at Amazon. I'm poor and don't shop at Amazon because it's not hard. Literally, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started. You know what I mean? Come on. Chat says, question, how can celebrities be truly influential if they aren't authentic? Aren't all public figures to a degree a persona? Not defending Hassan at all. Just curious how we bridge into actual impact. Well, the moment you're a celebrity, it's too late. So then there's this conundrum. This is why we do philosophy to pop culture. If I'm popular enough to become a celebrity, I've done something wrong. Because if I'm a celebrity, at some point, that means enough people, and you know people suck, like me enough to make me famous, which means I've done something terribly wrong. Because why is the mainstream media inviting me onto all their platforms? Like, why am I acceptable enough to be interviewed? And this is why I say it's interesting to watch Clavicular and all these men rise to fame by being trolls, but that is the same thing. The media has approved of you, so they'll talk to you. 60 Minutes approved of Clavicular enough to say, oh, I'll interview you. You're fun. You did something wrong. If you are sensational enough to be interviewed, you've done something wrong. If you are comfortable enough to be interviewed, you've done something wrong. I never want to be so liked that CBS and 60 Minutes and all these people say, hey, can we interview? No. May I never be so liked. Oh, but you're so sensational. May I never be so sensational. No. There are ways that serious academics or serious thinkers and activists do get platformed, and it's often from people who want to paint them as villains. May I never be interviewed unless I'm painted like a villain. You know what I'm saying? If it's about activism. Because if you are, laughing with me and you're so great and we like you so much, I'm like, you should not like me this much. Because my vision for the world is so far from what it is now, you should not like me this much. And this is why I say, you know what I'm saying? There is a very complicated layer here. Because I've watched all these interviews with Malcolm. I've watched all these interviews with Martin Luther. I've watched all these interviews. These people are not, they are faux liked by white people, but they are not truly respected by white supremacy, which is why in the interviews they're in, they're painted the way they're painted. Now, Hassan, I think he thinks he's Malcolm, which is disgusting. Okay, Malcolm also had problems. Don't forget his misogyny, okay? But Hassan thinks he's Malcolm. So Hassan is out here like, they hate me because they hate me. They hate me because they think you're not Malcolm X, period. And worse than that, you're co-opting the movement from marginalized people to pretend you are engaging in the same sort of marginalization when you're not, because white supremacy has made him famous in a way that Malcolm X would never have been as famous in the same context. Malcolm was famous from the roots up with no internet. Malcolm was uplifted by his community. It's a different time. It's a different way. Like Hassan grew to fame collaborating as equals with Destiny and Nick Fuentes and all these people and Asmongold. That is how Hassan became famous. Malcolm X became famous for standing up for the Black community. He died. He was assassinated. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very different context. I think it's not the same. And so for him to try to, I think, co-opt like liberation movements, acting like he's the guy, I think is also disgusting. The way he shuts down Black people, the way he shuts down trans people, that's what I'm saying. Like, he gives no real credit to real liberation movements. He doesn't give enough credit. I've watched enough of Hassan Piker to know he does not give enough credit. He does not talk about them enough. He talks about them like they're secondary. He talks about Black people like they're like in the background of his painting. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it's okay. I got it. And I'm like, he's not advocating. He's not uplifting. He's not platforming. He's not making sure that they are a main character the same way his whiteness has become the main character. I'm saying, why aren't they as much of a main character as Hassan Piker? And this plays into what we watched yesterday with Shonda Black talking about the same thing. Like, why are all the black people who are advocating being silenced, and the only people who are the most prominent is Hassan Piker? May I never become the next face of the left, because you know that white supremacy is still at play. That's what I'm saying. Every opportunity Hassan should have should be uplifting the right voices every single fucking time. And yes, that would make him less of the main character, but that's kind of the point, isn't it? But he's still the guy. So as long as he's the main character and he's not working in a collective, and by the way, look at all the podcasts he does. No black people in sight. That's what I'm saying, guys. How does this man now put together in his head that if we're going to show a diverse cast of people, we're going to bring together the greatest voices? Instead, he has like a podcast that's like about nothing, which is fine. But at this point, is it really fine? You know what I mean? Where he just talks about how much they love Taylor Swift, who's a billionaire. Why aren't you bringing together an amazing cast of people that you could uplift and have serious dialogue with and really do something here? Why are you even, you know what I'm saying? I don't understand why this is the decision you made, but here we are. Chazad question, could the harassment Hassan has faced over time in the internet make him feed into the bravado, or do you think he's inherently blind to what's going on? It's an awful PC voices aren't uplifted. Well, I think FD Signifier said it too, that Hassan does have to deal, because he's young, 34, does have to deal with a lot of, not that young, he could run for president next year, but he is dealing with a lot of pressure that I certainly would never want to deal with, but I also certainly never put myself in that position either. He put himself in this position, he volunteered for it, he allowed his audience to build him up, he could have quit at any point. He decided he would be the guy, okay? And so now he has to deal with the consequence. But imagine, right? Like, imagine if he used that power. If you have a plan, Hassan, he said already he wants to be famous to get his message out. He wants to get more men to the left. Okay. You're already famous now. You have it. Do it. Do it without engaging in misogyny. But he said in that recent interview that he can't. That the misogyny is basically a part of appealing to these men. So then here you go. Okay? And so, yeah, I think there's a lot at play here. I think he's really a person. He's flawed. He hasn't gone to therapy. He's admitted that he has to work on stuff, but he isn't. He's probably feeling a lot of pressure. There's probably a lot of it. Like, he needs to rest. Keep in mind that my advocacy is also for Hassan's health. You need to rest, Habibi. You need a day off. You need a day off. The fact that he streams 7 days a week. You need a day off. You need to go to therapy. You need to work on yourself. You need to reconnect with your family and friends. You deserve a day off. Be an advocate enough to tell your fans you need a day off. Right now, the message he is sending to his viewers is that all of you should work 7 days a week. That you have to, if you want to be anybody in the world, never take a day off and a rest and never go to therapy. And I'm saying, for the sake of Hassan's health, he deserves a day off. The fact that he won't take one and lead by example is the problem. The fact that he won't lead by example by going to therapy is a problem. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know? So I would like to see him do that. I would like to see the man who claims to be representing the left with the largest microphone also encourage his viewers by living by example, by taking a day off and going to therapy. Because again, him not going to therapy, him being a dude bro, him talking about how women are pieces of ass and laughing at jokes made by Stavi, that appeals to conservatism so much. See, conservative men look at Hassan and go, you're one of us, bro. You get it. Her tits though, right? And Hassan goes, yeah. Yeah, send me nudes, guys. Send me nudes. If a conservative man told his fans, send me nudes, I encourage it, we would have raked him over the coals. Why is Hassan getting away with it? Are we so desperate that this is what we think is good enough? Not good enough. Especially now with all of his privilege and his ability to literally, he could take the next month off, go to therapy, do his work, and come back, and nothing would have changed. But let me tell you this. If your movement really believes Hassan Piker taking a year off or a month off is going to ruin the movement, our movement is cooked. It's burnt. It's ash. How could this one man be the thing that makes or breaks a movement of millions of people? Is our movement so fragile that Hassan taking a year off of streaming to go work on himself is going to ruin everything we've built? I sure as fuck hope not. I sure as fuck believe we are more than Hassan fucking Piker. Come on now. Come on. Bro, I built up a fucking sweat with that one. I am sweating la tits right now. And it's also because in Europe, the AC decided not to be in my room. I'm not going to blame all of Europe for this, just the place I live. I'm literally sweating so much. It's crazy. Chad says, how do white women toe the line? I want to do better for the world, but don't want to invite myself to the cookout, so to speak. I listen to a lot of marginalized voices, but what else is welcome? I think I would reword my sentence. So often white women, this is the part of white supremacy that there's the propaganda we're fed our whole life, okay? The question isn't, how do white women toe the line? It isn't, I want to do better for the world as a white woman. It's, how do I as a human show up for my community and it reflects my values? Because white women who tend to overstep their place in marginalized community spaces, black and brown spaces, do it because they're too focused on being white. They're too focused on centering their whiteness. Decenter your whiteness in the conversation and don't ask yourself, what should I do as a white woman? Just ask yourself, what should I do as a community member that wants to uplift my community and takes myself out of being the main character, right? That's what it is. So you're not, there's so much we could do as people without invading spaces, without overstepping. And it starts with decentering ourselves. Decenter men, decenter whiteness, decenter you as the main character, right? Because I know a lot of people feel like a lot of guilt, like, oh, I feel so guilty, I'm not doing enough. You're still centering your ego there. Decenter your ego and feeling guilty and do something about it. Live within your values. You know, guilt, my therapist always said, is when you betray your own values, and shame is when you feel like you're betraying the expectation of your bubble, your community. So that's how I would say it. You know, stop feeling guilty and go do something about it. I never feel guilty. I don't have to. I follow the rules. I do what I'm supposed to and I show up. And I don't feel shame because my community doesn't have to use shame to correct my behavior. They use love. Oh, hey, Brait, we don't say that anymore. Oh, thanks, guys. Now I know. We build with knowledge and data and love and compassion to suffer with. You know, we're all suffering. The question is, how do we help relieve each other's suffering to the best of our ability? That's how I would reframe the question in my head, you know? Chet said, could it also be tied to influencer culture? I feel like it's an illness to commodify your life. Eventually, where do you draw the line from your life to your job? I mean, heck, even I struggle with that too, like oversharing, where I want to tell you things, but I also want to keep things private. But I also want you to know that I'm a human and I struggle. And I also want you to know you're not alone. It's about balance, you know? Chet says the earrings are fire, by the way. Inspired by Mia. I follow her on Instagram. She's really great. She's always at farmers market. She's very talented. She sent me these earrings as a gift and she's just wonderful. I buy her earrings, but she also did send these as a gift. Not like a sponsorship, just like she's a community member. She watches the streams and she watches the videos and you talk about community, you know, here's this girly who's in my community. I have so many talented people in this community. And I'm like, oh my gosh, she runs an Etsy shop. She's so talented. And her earrings are truly like some of the best purchases I've ever made in my life is her earrings. So, you know, inspired by Mia, go check her out. She's great. Very talented, very lovely, you know. Okay, let's take a 2-minute break. We'll come back. We'll also talk about Ariana, eating disorders, the way we have conversations, and so on and so forth, you know. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, pausing music. 1, 2, 3. I also want to expand on this. Chat said, thank you. This is what I was really asking. I worded it wrong. I want to learn how to decenter more than just listening. I feel kind of useless, but definitely agree with decentering myself. Okay, if I'm understanding you correctly, this is going to sound so weird. If I'm, are we still talking about being a white woman? Hold on. I just want to make sure that this is the same conversation. Because, yeah, okay. This is going to sound really strange. This is going to sound really weird. Do you know that, just ask yourself this question, okay? Just like ask all white people, ask yourself this question and meditate on it. Do you know that Black people are people? Like, I know that sounds weird, but do you actually know it? Is it embodied? Do you know they're literally the same? That there is no difference? That they are people? Because the thing about white supremacy is that from childhood, it is whispered into your ear that they are not people. So when you get older, you center their pain on yourself. It's only seen through the lens of being a white person. You naturally, because of the way you're raised, start to reflexively see Black communities as literally different. It's why white people will be like, oh my God, a Black person thinks I'm cool. Or they'll be like, oh, I think I'm cool because I'm dating a Black guy. Like, oh, like you're doing that thing. You're characterizing them. You're not seeing them as people. That's all white supremacy of it's unique or different or that it matters. And there's a way to have a conversation from the Black perspective that's different, but from the white perspective, there is so much conditioning. And this is why I think a lot of white men feel a lot of guilt and they don't even know it's because of white supremacy propaganda, where you're like, I want to do more. You need to start by really understanding that like Black people are just people. So example, white women, Black women have said, white women, they notice that white women, in order to be friendly, will talk Black. Like, hey girl, whatever, but won't talk that way naturally. And so catch yourself if you notice you're changing character to talk to Black people. That's a part of that propaganda that you need to deconstruct. They're just people. Everyone's just people. But to embody that people are just people, you do have to deconstruct the way that you're taught to objectify or in a weird way, like even pedestal Black people. Or like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a weird thing that whiteness it just makes you act weird. Like you're being so you're doing too much. So that's where I would start is like, you know, consuming Black media so much that you forget it's quote Black media. Or engaging in Black media that recognizes the great contribution that Black people have made without thinking of it as like Black music, even though it's Black music, right? So just, you have to respect it from both ends. You have to respect that it's Black music, but not objectify it as Black music. I don't know if that makes sense. Does that make sense? Also, hold on. Let me pull up this video. Where is this video? Fuck. I don't know where this video is. You know what? We'll save it for Juneteenth, which is Friday. I have a Black fashion designer video I wanted to show you, but that's okay. We'll talk about it Friday because Friday is Juneteenth. Speaking of Blackness, that is a good example. Juneteenth, the actual celebration of liberation of enslaved people. And that's another example of how white supremacy makes us forget that not everybody was free when everybody was said to be free. You know? Chet says, okay, but what if we accidentally take on people's way of speaking regardless of culture? It's embarrassing because I don't even know if I'm doing it. I do it all the time. I just usually like call myself out, or people are usually chill about it. I mean, you can usually tell who I've been watching by the way that I speak. Sometimes I will throw in a couple of things here and I'm like, my bad. And like, just acknowledge it, or just like, you know, it's normal. That's what I'm saying. Okay, listen to me. Black communities are chill because they know you're human, but when you make it weird, now they have to question, are you being weird? You have to learn not to be weird, but also not to ignore. It's a skill. It is a skill. You have to, because you're going to get defensive. And then you're going to say, no, I just talk like that. My name's Aquafina and I just talk like that. And you got to be like, I'm from New York. I'm from New York. Okay, like you just don't be weird about it. But it's a skill. But I've literally mimicked like actual like Irish accents at people because I'm like, I'm so sorry, I'm autistic. But it's, you know, just acknowledge it, but don't be weird about it. And don't start actually speaking in an accent and just say like, oh, that's just how I talk though. I'm from New York, you know? Don't do that either. You know? So just, if it happens, acknowledge it and see what it is. And that's what introspection is in the real moment. It's hard, but you got to learn to introspect in the actual moment. And say, I'm sorry, I've been watching a lot of so-and-so and I've just picked up on their mannerisms and my bad, you know? And just kind of da-da-da. Because, yeah, I do it all the time. Yeah. It helps if you make funny faces, I think. I don't know. Okay, let's talk about this because, so we talked about Ariana Grande the other day. I used Chelsea Fagan's video as the example. I did not appreciate the way she called and insinuated that Ariana Grande is an animal. It's like watching an animal at a zoo. I did not like the way Chelsea Fagan talked about how it might be unethical to buy tickets to Ariana's concerts because Ariana knows what she's doing. I think if you're sick, you deserve to work. If you would like to work, I think if you're sick, you deserve to be seen in public. I do not think sick people should be hidden away. Chelsea Fagan's video was titled something like "The Problem with Choice Feminism," and basically said that her intellect will not be challenged or will not be, you know, she will not be tricked because of her common sense. She knows Ariana's sick. And I'm just saying that the implication of this conversation extends past Ariana. And the implication is now, if you are suffering, if you are sick, you should be hidden away. No one should see you because of the quote influence. Like, there's so many layers to that I just didn't like. And a lot of people kept titling their videos like the Ariana Grande conversation they won't let us have. You know, for a conversation you guys are not allowed to have, everybody is having the conversation. Chelsea even insinuated or said that the interviewer should have asked Ariana about her body during interviews. And I'm like, aren't we trying to get away from that? So I just really don't like where Chelsea Fagan came from in that video. And I think it was wrong. I think if the video was done differently, I would have had a different opinion. So for all the people who said you misunderstood Chelsea, I don't think so. Because, you know, but I did reach out to Chelsea if she would like to discuss her hot takes recently, from buying a second house in France to Ariana. Great. If she doesn't get back to me, also respectful. I get it. But hopefully she reaches out and we can do a collaboration, because maybe I am misunderstanding Chelsea, but I guess I'll never know unless she clarifies, right? So this new person came up on my feed called Kayla Says, and the title is, I don't think anyone is right about Ariana. And based on the comments, I think they're more on my side of framework and thinking. So let's see, let's have a conversation. And also to anyone with eating disorders who feels like I'm not doing a good job about talking about them, of course that is true. Call me out about it and recognize that this conversation is more about eating, more than just eating disorders. Like, in a way, like, it is about the way we look at people who are sick. This is about ableism as well. So I need people to recognize that, because I don't know if people with eating disorders, you guys can tell me, do you understand, like, do you see the intersection between mental health, physical health, and ableism, and how people are, you know what I mean? So you can let me know. But here we go.
Okay, so I did talk about this a couple months ago, late last year, when the Wicked Press Tour was still going on. I talked about this exact topic. I made a video about it. If you haven't seen it, it'll be linked in the description down below so you can check it out, because I stand...
Yeah, this title, I don't like it either. Ariana Grande and Cynthia scare me a little. I don't like that either. I don't know who said that. I don't think she said it. I'm sure it's a quote, but I hate this idea. Chelsea also said Ariana's body is like scary or frightening. Like, it literally... I could see if my mental health was in a worse place, that could cause me to self-harm. I could see if I saw a woman I respected on the internet make a video saying that my body was scary to her while I was suffering. If I was a 22-year-old Britney, I could see that causing me to self-harm. Thank goodness I'm a 37-year-old Britney, so I'm good. But imagine all the young girlies who are hearing that.
And by everything I said in it. I talked about the nuances surrounding public figures who have eating disorders or body image issues. I included experiences and perspectives from people who have dealt with eating disorders in both the medical and mental health field. I think it's a good video. I watched it recently. Everything I said in there holds up. This is not me going back on.
I love that because as a creator too, like sometimes I have to go back and watch a video and see how much of what I said at the time was good or not good. Some videos I'm like, oh, I did great here. And then sometimes I'm like, that's not it. So just if my videos are older than 3 months, there's probably been an update in how I talk or what I'm saying. So just ask for clarification if you guys have questions.
Anything that I've said previously. However, obviously there has been a lot of new conversation surrounding Ariana Grande since her tour kicked off. People have been asking me about it. I'm here today to give my updated singular thoughts.
Okay.
And this will probably come off a bit more personal than the last.
This is a pretty short video, so I'm excited. I think she's really gonna get to the point.
Video, and honestly, that's fine. They serve different purposes for different context within the moment. That being said, quick trigger warning for anyone who has experienced an eating disorder or body image issues. We are going to be discussing those topics at length during this video. I also may have to censor a couple different words and images. That's just YouTube's policies. Don't worry about it. Thanks so much. Let's get into it. So Ariana kicked off her Eternal Sunshine tour earlier this month, and obviously this is the first time she's really been seen in the public eye since the Wicked Press tour, and a lot of folks have been commenting on her appearance and her ability, or perhaps inability, to perform. You don't need a PhD in rocket science to understand that Ariana does not look well. Whether it's an eating disorder, an illness, or some other kind of issue, it is clear that she is struggling with something, and this has been the talk of the town for well over a year. And yet for some reason, everyone is insisting that we're not allowed to talk about it.
We aren't commenting on Ariana Grande's body. We are calling out the fact that if something doesn't change, she is going to.
I've seen so many videos where people are saying that we shouldn't comment on Ariana Grande's body because it's going to hurt her. It's not helping her. It's not going to fix her. And if anything, it's going to make her problems worse to have so many people giving their opinion and clearly stating that there's something wrong.
You are not morally superior when it comes to, we don't talk about people's bodies. Yes, we do. Especially when they look like this. The whole body positivity movement has gone quite the opposite way from which it originated and the way it was supposed to go, when we decide that not talking about bodies when they look like this is being positive.
Am I allowed to talk about it yet? Like, are we allowed to talk about it yet?
Are we or are we not allowed to talk about Ariana Grande's body? This is the great debate that is taking over the internet, and honestly, I do see both sides of the argument.
What if it's not an ED? What if it's not an ED? What if everyone is just assuming that it's an ED and there's actually something medically wrong with her?
No, I think some of this comes from.
Isn't an ED something medically wrong? Like, isn't an ED a part of mental health? The insinuation that Chelsea Fagan called it choice feminism, as if having an eating disorder is a choice. Like, that sounds like someone saying addiction is a choice. You know, addiction is a choice. Like, guys, am I confused? Isn't an eating disorder? You know what I'm saying? It's like saying depression is a choice. Is it a choice? Like, when did we go back to saying these things are choices?
Residual earlier talking points surrounding the beginning of the Wicked Press tour. Also, everyone was sort of fresh off the heels of the Chadwick Boseman situation that rightfully made them reconsider how we discuss people's bodies and illness publicly. But obviously things have progressed since then. The press tour is over and Ariana still looks really thin, while Cynthia seems to have changed her body a bit. More people started looking into a pro-Anna Tumblr account that allegedly belonged to Ariana, which kind of puts this whole situation into a new context.
First thing I learned, being skinny isn't the most important thing in the world. Being happy is. Happiness comes from self-love and learning to accept yourself no matter what. Okay. Excuse me. Anna, nourish your body and nourish your soul. Ariana, nourish your body and nourish your soul. Wait.
Ariana still looks really thin, while Cynthia seems to have changed her body a bit. More people started looking.
Okay, reblogged by Ariana Princess. So here's a really long blog about a bunch of things. My mind kind of wondered while I was writing it, but I feel like the points are in here are all kind of important. So I'm sorry if it's disorganized. No matter how many calories I eat, I still don't lose weight. I saw somebody say this on Tumblr and was inspired to share. So is this is an Ariana reblogged this. So isn't this saying the opposite?
Looking into a pro-Anna Tumblr account that allegedly belonged to Ariana, which kind of puts this whole situation into.
But it's saying, first thing I learned is being skinny isn't the most important thing in the world. Being happy is. Happiness comes from self-love and learning to accept yourself no matter what, no matter how your body looks in the moment. Isn't this good? Am I confused? Even my boyfriend prefers it now. My point is we all have things we're insecure about. It's normal. But in the big picture, those little quirks and things are what make you you. If we wait until we're perfect before we love ourselves, we will waste our whole lives away. You're already perfect right here and right now. Am I confused? I know what you're saying. I can't love myself. I hate myself. I hate my body and so on. I'm a 19-year-old girl. I'm my worst critic. I know. But next time, before you beat yourself up or hate on yourself, remember that you're lucky enough to be living on this beautiful planet. Be grateful to be alive. Is this not good? Whether she wrote it or reblogged it, isn't this anti-anorexia? Isn't this saying like your value doesn't come from your skinniness?
to a new context a bit more. Also, quick note about the Anna Tumblr, because I do think that playing it back a bit, it does need more context. This is an account that surfaced a while back. I only saw it via the Wayback Machine. That's how I was able to like show you a screenshot of a post on there. It doesn't currently exist in its like previous format. Most people speculated that Ariana had this account when she was around 19 years old, and she would talk about diet strategies. It wasn't necessarily explicitly pro-Anna, like it doesn't have a lot of signifiers in terms of the pro.
This is what I'm saying. This is why I say it's none of my business. Because you don't know. This is so parasocial to me. We do not know. It's none of our business. We should be talking about eating disorders, resources, community efforts. We should be giving people resources. If we do not know, we're not sure, there's a lot of speculation, who cares? What does this have to do with anything? This is why I'm saying you fake concerned about Ariana. You should be focused on movements that help people with disorders. You should be focusing on organizing and donating money. Like, why are we talking about Ariana Grande? This is what I'm saying. You guys are fake concerned.
And a community, it doesn't seem very deliberate to me, just from what I've seen of it, the remnants I've seen via archives. Sorry, I'm just trying to be as clear as I can here when I say that this.
And yes, Chad, I am aware that Ariana has spoken in the past about having an ED. It just doesn't matter if she has one. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter if Ariana Grande has an eating disorder. It's not our business. It's none of your business what I am diagnosed with. It is none of your, if I share, you're welcome. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not our business. It's not your business. You cannot weaponize it against people. I just read you this comment at the beginning of the stream of somebody trying to weaponize my diagnosis. You're lucky I even shared it with you to help people. Do you know what I'm saying? It's not your business what people are sick from. It's not your business what people have struggled with. If they're sharing it with you, take that for what it is, but this isn't our business. If you want to help people with eating disorders, this is what I mean, right? Like, it doesn't matter if we know she's sick or not. It's none of our business. If you're worried about people with eating disorders, be worried for people in general. Don't pretend like these TikToks that were like, oh, but Ariana could die. Honey, we're all dying. Children are being genocided right now in Palestine. Talk about them. You know what I mean? Talk about them. There's so many people we could talk to. There's so many people we could have conversations with. There's so many things we could be advocating for. It just feels like the wrong way to have this conversation, you know? But I appreciate chat. You're doing great. But I'm trying to like, I don't even know why I'm having, you know what? Listen, I'm having this conversation now because I'm sick of the way people are having the conversation. But I did not make Ariana content because I didn't want to. When Kelly Osbourne showed up, I made content about people making content about it because I was like, why are you making content about this? Stop talking about these women. And these women have come out. Kelly Osbourne came out and said, please stop talking about my body. My dad just died. I'm going through it. And I was like, stop talking about this woman's body. Because again, it's just bullying. It's just weird obsession with her body. Like you were body checking her while blaming her for having an eating disorder or blaming women for going through suffering. It's so weird. You're being so weird. Not you, Chad, but like the internet's being so weird.
Blog wasn't explicitly pro-Anna. I mean it in the sense that she wasn't hashtagging her posts with like hashtag Anna or anything that she signified directly that she belonged to that community. That doesn't necessarily mean that the blog wasn't Anna coded. It's not as brazen as some of the more modern day ED accounts that you see on Tumblr and Twitter currently, for example, but it does have, you know, described habits of a person who is.
Okay, so then it's not even a completely obviously pro-Anna post. People are doing too much. And that's why I'm disappointed in Chelsea Fagan. You're a grown-ass woman going after this woman with no care or compassion while calling it love. Yeah, that's disappointing to see. I thought we were past this. When we say don't talk about women's bodies, we're saying exactly this. Don't tear apart a woman. Go into all of her posts. Go into all these details. So we're not even finding the proper information. It's not like Ariana is getting on stage and saying like Anna for life. She's literally just performing. And now you could say, but Brittany, she's in a position of power. She's like, she knows she's influencing people. What do you want her to do? Would you like her to never perform unless she is recovered? What if she never recovers? What if she's sick her whole life? Do you want her to never perform again? Some people were like, Brittany, Ariana's rich. She doesn't have to perform again for money. Oh, God forbid the woman liked to sing. God forbid she actually just likes to sing. Celine Dion loves singing so much that when she had her throat problem, it was mentally devastating for her to not be able to perform. I think you guys forget that Ariana can sing. This woman probably just likes her job. So yes, maybe she's not doing it for money, or maybe she is. I don't know. I don't know her. But the implication is If I'm a person with an eating disorder, what I'm hearing is I'm not allowed to perform. Or if I'm somebody sick or disabled, I'm not allowed to perform because I don't look good or because I might influence people to what? That's like saying, you remember when that book came out? What was that book? John Green's book, Fault in Our Stars. And all the girlies were like, I kind of wish I was sick because like the main character's sick and she gets all this attention. Women with cancer can't exist on the internet. Girls with cancer can't exist because some girls want to fantasize about being sick. Do you know what I'm saying? We should be talking to our young girls about like everyone is attention seeking. Make sure you're seeking the right attention, but people deserve to be sick in public. You know what I mean? That's it. People deserve to be sick in public.
Definitely experience some form of disordered eating. Similarly, there is an Instagram account that is rumored to have belonged to Ariana Grande and her friend Courtney, in which they allegedly described stealing people's men and made jokes about how little food they eat. Similarly, I believe that account is gone now, so I don't have like an exact like first-hand account of being able to view it, but there are sources out here that describe this kind of stuff in more detail. Just wanted to provide additional context.
And because she's touring right now, we do have direct comparisons of what she used to look like then versus what she looks like.
This is, you know, again, a different era of someone's life. People go through stages. You know, I've gone through much bigger stages, much thinner stages. All of them are a reflection of my life. But like, this would make me feel, I just wouldn't want this to happen to me. So I don't know why you're doing it to Ariana. Look, I would love it if somebody would make a good critique of my content. I am waiting for somebody to make videos about me the way I make videos about creators, but nobody ever does. Okay, I'm waiting for a girl. Would somebody in good faith critique my work, please, and be serious and be an actual content creator, not a somebody random who just wants attention, but actually like somebody who has a career, you know? I would be mortified if somebody made videos like this about me. I'd be mortified if Chelsea Fagan made a video about me, about my body, and talking about my body. Like, that is not the content I want to see from the girls, the gays and the theys. Okay, I don't want to see people making videos about our health problems. I want to see people making videos about our ideas, critiquing our beliefs, questioning our, you know, whatever frameworks about our philosophies. This is not what I want.
Currently, the evidence is there and the taboo has mostly lifted. People are talking about it.
But there's something about this conversation that has been really bothering me, and it's the fact that eating disorders are diseases, and having a disease is morally neutral.
I can tell you firsthand that it is really tough to navigate
Exactly, it's morally neutral to be sick.
the world as a woman right now when so much scrutiny.
Keep in mind, conservatives think your sickness is a choice. That's why they don't want to give you international health care. Do you know conservatives think obesity, they're like, I don't want to pay for healthcare for somebody who's fat or smokes because you got cancer on purpose. Conservatives say that in their media. They'll say, oh, you got lung cancer because you smoked all those years. I don't have to pay for your health insurance. Oh, you ate too much food. Oh, you're skinny. You have anorexia. This is what I'm saying. Being sick and going through struggle is neutral. It's morally neutral. When you start moralizing these things, that's when the community starts to decide you don't deserve help because they think it's a choice. That's what I'm saying.
Is constantly put on our bodies, especially in the era of Ozempic, and how it has recontextualized fitness and thinness.
Okay, chat says, hold on. Chat says, well, Aria is sick, is allowed to exist. How can we help young girls not internalize skinny culture and not dehumanize celebrities? When they come home and ask you questions, make sure you're not being fatphobic when they hear you speak. Make sure your friends and you aren't laughing at fat people's existence. Make sure you're not sitting here saying, oh, she's so much prettier now that she's lost 15 pounds. Watch your mouth. Watch how you compliment people. One time, I had gotten heavier, and my sister, who never notices these things, didn't notice I had gotten heavier. And one of her friends had seen me, okay? Then, a while later, like a year or so later, her friend sees me again, and I'm wearing a hoodie, and I get off the couch, and I take off my hoodie, and I had lost, like, a significant amount of weight, and her friend goes like this, guys. She screams, and my sister and I go like this, and she goes, oh my God, you look so different. I was just shocked. And my sister goes, does she look different? I don't know. My sister just looks the same to me. To this day, my sister just thinks I always look the same. She never notices the fluctuations in my body or how I look, or she never even like, it just, you know what I mean? But her friend was so audibly loud, literally screamed. And my sister was like, I can't believe the way people react to your body. I'm saying, watch your fucking mouth. It's you. It's all of us. We're the problem. It's the way my fatphobic ass used to talk about fat people. It's the way we'd make jokes about people. It's even saying things that fat people are so much funnier. It's because you think being fat is funny. Listen, it took a lot for me to deconstruct fatness. It took a lot for me to deconstruct. I internalized that shit. I never had an eating disorder, but I always thought I was more valuable if I was thinner because that's the community I was raised in. And it came from family and friends. That's what I'm saying. Like, yes, the tabloids, yes, the media, yes, but it's also your mothers and fathers. It's also your friends. It's also the people you reward. That's also the way people talk about who you're dating. It's also dating apps. It's you too. The most progressive people I know still say, is it okay that I don't want to date fat people? Deconstruct your fat phobia. Instead of attacking Ariana Grande and saying she shouldn't work because she's sick. Ask yourself, what led to this position? And how do I speak on behalf of people as a community? That's how I would do it.
And what should be an acceptable or attainable standard. And so I understand people's frustration with one of the biggest pop stars in the world looking the way she does on the world stage, because like it or not, she does have influence, and anorexia is a social disease, meaning that modeling certain behaviors can very much influence other vulnerable groups of people.
I think it's deeper than that for a lot of people. I think people forget that people also lose weight because they're mourning. I know a lot of people who lose a significant amount of weight because their child died. So is it anorexia or did your child die? This is why I say we don't always know what it is. Is she going through a breakup? Did a parent die? Did a life change happen? Did she get GERD? Does she have a food sensitivity? I know so many autistic people that are severely underweight because they can't eat anything. It's not always about trying to look skinny. Sometimes it really is so much deeper than that. And I promise you, you don't know what's happening in people's lives. And it's really fucked up to assume. And you are doing it with Ariana because you feel entitled. You feel like you know her. That's the toxicity of parasociality. So when Chelsea Fagan says, my intellect will not be insulted, I'm saying, how dare you assume you understand this woman's life who is a stranger to you? You do not know what's going on in her life. And I think it's really fucking unethical to pretend we do. We do not know. God forbid I go through something and I lose weight and all of you decide to make hit pieces on me when I didn't want to share that somebody in my life died. I am terrified of that. I think of that all the time. What if I lose somebody and my weight fluctuates and my chat won't believe me? That would feel so terrible to me, to think that you guys wouldn't believe me when I tell you I don't have an eating disorder, I'm going through something. That's how I look at Ariana. I don't know her. I don't know what she's going through. It's not my business. I hope she's, okay. I hope she lives a long and healthy life. I wish we would stop talking about like we know what's going on in people's lives.
And yes, people are right that commenting on how thin Ariana looks is actually motivation for people who struggle with eating disorders. They seek out that kind of feedback, and maybe Ariana does too.
Something else I wanted to mention here is also the fact that there are a couple of mystical elements in the discussion surrounding Ariana Grande, and what I mean by that is that a lot of the speculation surrounding her mental state and her physical state are quite literally not grounded in reality. Because sometimes the truth that we can all see in front of our faces with our own eyeballs is inherently less interesting, so people feel the need to elevate it with armchair psychology bullshit nonsense.
If you're confused by what I mean here, I have a couple of different examples. There have been people in the comment sections of these videos of her performing, and they're insisting that Ariana is dying, that she wants to be with Mac, meaning Mac Miller, and that this is her goodbye tour. That's a wild thing to say about a living, breathing human being. Or the fact that Ariana hired a plus-sized backup dancer named Amanda LeCount. I've been following Amanda on social media for a while now, and she's toured with a bunch of different artists, but people are saying that Ariana, hired her to make herself look thinner in comparison, I guess.
Oh my God,
you guys know
good.
that you're talking about a human being, right? And not a Force ghost or an anime villain. It's the same with the Illuminati ritual stuff that I've talked about before. I think this subject matter typically makes people very uncomfortable, and so they feel the need to retreat into almost this supernatural explanation for what's happening.
I mean, the weirdest thing is now they're focusing on this woman's weight. So now this dancer who's so skilled and so talented, who got hired for her skill and talent, all you're pointing out is that she's fat? You're so fucking weird. The internet is the most disgusting place. This is what I'm saying. The world is a reflection of us as a whole. The world is a reflection of us as a whole. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? God forbid the woman's just talented. God forbid she's just good at dancing.
happening here, when in reality Ariana is dealing with a very human problem. I think it almost does a 180 where all of this weird conspiracy stuff morphs into people romanticizing her as some sort of tragic figure, as if they are trying to martyr her while she is still alive. And I also think that's counterintuitive, especially when a lot of eating disorders are relatively well researched and there are resources regarding them that you could do your own research around and understand that a lot of the habits or behaviors that you're picking up on as weird or spooky or almost supernatural can be explained via professionals who have dealt with this sort of thing. And I get that people want accountability for this, right? Because it can be straight up triggering to witness something like this out in the open and see the downstream effects that it will have on her fans and young impressionable girls. But I also don't think that you can really hold Ariana Grande accountable for this without also rooting for her to get better. And people have a hard time understanding this because the internet has pretty much eroded our capacity for basic empathy. I'm not saying you have to like Ariana Grande as a person. A lot of people don't, and that's their prerogative. But I don't understand what being unnecessarily cruel to her really accomplishes, because like I said, if you look—
And look, I know people were really confused. We absolutely can talk about eating disorders. We absolutely can talk about mental health. We absolutely can talk about fat phobia. We absolutely can talk about anything. We should talk about everything. But we don't have to center a person and pretend we're in their brain and read their minds and tear them apart. Like, we can talk about all of these problems. I know some people in my last video thought I was saying like we can't talk about it. Of course we can talk. We're talking about it right now. I'm saying we don't have to talk about it the way we're talking about it matters, right? Don't we say this about sexual assault or rape or anything else, that the way you talk about women's bodies matters? The way you talk about consent? Oh, she looked like she wanted it. Look at the way she was dressing. Like, you could just tell. You could read her mind. The way she was walking, she wanted me. That's what you're doing. That's literally what you're doing. And that's why I'm not getting it. I can't believe we haven't figured out a better way to have this conversation. I can't believe this is like where we're still at in 2026, like girlies. I don't understand. Like, especially since, like, again, I chose not to cover this topic because I don't like talking about people's bodies. So I didn't talk about it. But now I feel like I have to because I hate the way y'all are talking about it. But I don't want to talk about this. This is not important. What's more important is infidelity and cheating and ethics and morals. Like, what's more important is not that people are sick, but why are people sick? It's not because Ariana Grande eating disorders existed before Ariana Grande. She's just a victim. And so you're now pointing a finger at a victim and you're saying, oh, you're the reason more people have eating disorders. She's literally a victim of an eating disorder. It doesn't make sense.
Look at images of her and they make you upset and you want it to stop. That does sometimes require you to put your mature adult pants on and go, you know what? I hope someone in her circle steps in and I hope she gets better. Because what else can you really do besides go, why is nobody talking about how bad Ariana Grande looks when you know damn well that everyone can see it and that you're just looking for an easy dunk?
Exactly. And what do you mean, why is no one talking about it? Everybody and their mother is talking about it. I'm sick of hearing it.
I find that cowardly, to be honest. Like, positioning yourself as morally superior to someone with an eating disorder says a lot more about you than it does about her. And if we're being real for a second, I can properly identify some of the reasons for this level of cruelty and animosity beyond Ariana being a homewrecker or perpetual.
Please, do I look like Ariana Grande here? If not, how long would it take till I get there? It has like almost no views, guys. Okay, yes, people suffer from eating disorders. Yes, they have body goals. Yes, it's a whole thing. But Ariana Grande didn't create eating disorders.
Infantilized or whatever. If you're chronically online, you've seen the way that some of these Ariana Stan accounts or these pro-Anna accounts behave and interact with other people. Some of them are straight up assholes, especially when they weaponize other people's weight or bully people for their appearance in defense of their fave. And it's hard not to view Ariana as an extension of that ecosystem because in a lot of ways, both groups idolize her. A chronically unwell person being in the spotlight and exhibiting signs of a chronic social illness is not a good thing. But I also don't think it's fair to burden her with the online aspect of that reality as if she herself is the one posting plus size people for thinspo. She's not doing—
Wait, I gotta hear that again.
In a lot of ways, both groups idolize her. A chronically unwell person being in the spotlight and exhibiting signs of a chronic social illness is not a good thing.
Pause. Why? Why is it not a good thing?
Ariana as an extension of that ecosystem because in a lot of ways, both groups idolize her. A chronically unwell person being—
A chronically unwell person
being in the spotlight and
being in the spotlight,
exhibiting signs of a chronic—
and exhibiting signs of a chronic
social illness is not a good thing.
Social illness is not a good thing. Why is nobody hearing themselves when they speak? Would you like us to put her in the shed in the backyard? Would you like us to take all disabled people and put them in sheds? Why is nobody hearing what they say? Why is nobody listening to the words they are using? What is the finish line of this thought? Why do people keep saying these things?
but I also don't think it's fair to burden her with the online aspect of that reality as if she herself is the one posting plus-size people for Thinspo. She's not doing that to our knowledge, but seeing it does make that rage indistinguishable, synonymous in fact. And that really is the problem here. A lot of our rage is indistinguishable. I am mad at the system and culture that forced a child star into feeling like she had no other path but to shrink herself to compete. I am mad that no social media platform has done its due diligence to step in and limit the ways in which these pro-Anna accounts run wild online. I am mad that parents—
Okay, chat says, do you really want a heroin addict front and center of TV ideally? I guess that's what she's saying. Are you saying a person suffering from heroin addiction is the same thing as a person suffering from an eating disorder? Do you think they're analogous? Do you think they're the same? They're not the same. They're not even remotely the fucking same. And also, a person who's suffering from addiction could still be and should be allowed to be employed and maybe should be on the front and center of things. I don't know. What is their relationship with their addiction? Many people suffer from addiction. You know how many of those late night hosts allegedly are addicted to alcohol and are drunk on set and nobody talks about it? You know how many people you see every day that you think you admire and they are suffering from addiction? How many people come out 10 years later and say, oh, I was high every day. I was literally coked up every fucking day. It doesn't matter. People get to work even if they're addicts. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, people get to work even if they have eating disorders. The question is, how does your addiction impact the people you work with and your community? So when we make these generalized statements, we have to be careful. Okay, this is like saying, you know, people think people with depression shouldn't have jobs or work with children, or people with BPD shouldn't work with kids. Why? People with autistic can't work with children. Why? Because people misunderstand, the general you misunderstands that not everyone's autistic experience is the same. Not everyone's addiction experience is the same. Not everyone's like, you know how many addicts I know that are amazing teachers? They're in, to be fair, recovery, but they literally are, you know, they call themselves addicts still. They become great educators. They became great people. Like, we cannot shun people away. We cannot say, because then just think about the negative stigma. You're not a bad person because you have an addiction. There's nothing, you are not a bad person because you have an addiction, period. I don't want to hear any, there's so much moralizing happening that like, oh, do you know they're an addict? So I'm not saying that's great. I'm saying, okay, you're suffering. How do we help you? Because you have to understand the moral implication of you're an addict implies that you are no longer worthy of existing. And I'm saying, no. I'm saying it's just an experience you're having. Let's figure it out. Being an addict doesn't mean you're inherently in any way anything. And I just don't like the implication that that means you are.
Never taught their kids to be kind, and the fear of not being skinny has been so ingrained in women for centuries that to be a daughter is to inherently want to be smaller. I am mad at all of it, but I don't find myself being mad at her.
No, here comes the nuance police. Yes, babe, because multiple things can be true at the same time. Ariana Grande looks sick, and Ariana Grande probably is sick, and Ariana Grande is saying that she's not sick, and we as a society have a problem with talking about women's bodies, and Anna is a social disease, and her fans are going to see her and be socially influenced by her skinniness. And people with a history of EDs like me are triggered by seeing pictures and discussion of her. And we need to try to prevent this from becoming normalized.
This TikTok from this creator, which I will also link in the description down below, probably has the best and most nuanced take that I've seen about this whole situation, and that is what this situation deserves: nuance. There is no right way to have a conversation about this on the internet. This is all of our first time out here operating in the world, you know what I mean? But I think a cardinal rule, and something that I think this creator did that was really good here, is just being kind. Because even if you don't like Ariana Grande, even if this whole situation frustrates you a lot, there are ways to tamper your—
Oh, chat said, I think the usual term is addict in remission. Okay, thank you.
Rhetoric to be more considerate about people online who struggle with eating disorders, because I don't think they need to hear over and over again that their behavior is a moral failing, in the same way that no one battling with addiction needs to hear over and over again that their own struggles are a moral failing. I don't think it's productive. I don't think it actually helps anyone who is struggling with this disease. And the worst thing about all of this is that if you want to be dark about it, if you want to martyr her while she is still alive, all of these people who have been snarking on her and being overtly cruel, not based on any of her actions—
Like, how embarrassing that Chelsea Fagan's in this category. That's what I'm saying. Somebody get through to Chelsea. Somebody say, Chelsea, you are in this category. You made a 40-minute video on how her body was scary, frightening, and like an animal in a zoo. This is what I'm saying. I am so disappointed in Chelsea for contributing to this conversation about women's bodies when we have been scrutinized and scrutinized and scrutinized. And I'm saying, Jesus Christ. Like, it's just so unnecessary. Well, Chelsea says because she didn't want to get new clothes, she took a GLP-1. This is what I'm saying. Like, I feel like this is so weird that women who apparently are doing the most and engaging in feminism, this is why I say, like, your feminism cannot end and stop. It has to keep going and evolving into the future. We should not be talking about people's bodies this way. We should not be sitting here and justifying, you know, even Chelsea said, I don't care what you think about me using a GLP-1. Well, why are you making a video about Ariana then? Because Ariana doesn't care what you think either. Because you're not going to listen anyways. Like, it's so hurtful. It's so unnecessary. And look, her audience agreeing with her is just a reflection that they share a framework of ethics. It's not her audience agreeing with Chelsea because, you know, yes, maybe a part of it is like their fave. I think the only part of it that was their fave was them coming and attacking me in my comment sections because, like, why are you so mad at me for having a different opinion? Like, if you think I misread Chelsea, then tell Chelsea to collab with me and we'll clear the air, right? But that's not the problem. The problem isn't that you think I disagree with Chelsea. You don't understand that Chelsea's saying what she's saying because you don't want to believe she said what she said. But she is. She's contributing to all of these conversations. And I expect better of Chelsea because she's older and should know better. And she talks about eating struggles all the time and the problems. So, like, again, I will clear the air. Collab with me. But at the end of the day, she's probably not going to because every time Chelsea gets any criticism, she doubles down. Even though she says she grows from it, are you sure? Because, like, why are you making this video in 2026? Let's talk about it, though. I know I sound harsh. I know it's my tone of voice sounds like I'm being meaner than I am, but I'm serious. You are too old and too wealthy and too privileged not to know better. And this is gross. Yeah, Chad says no new wardrobe, but 30,000 on travel. Like, no new wardrobe, but $1 million house in France. So I'm going to take a GLP-1 because I don't want to lose the weight or because I don't want to accept that I'm bigger. So you know what I'm saying? She wonders why Ariana has an eating disorder and is anorexic. Well, you're literally talking about getting a GLP-1 for 10 extra pounds or 20 extra pounds or whatever it was because you didn't feel good in your body. Well, Ariana doesn't feel good in hers. That's what I'm saying. How could you not be empathetic? Compassion means to suffer with. If I know there is a girl on Instagram that I respect as a workout girly, but I can't follow her Instagram because she triggers in my brain a desire to be thin, a thin that I will never, ever, ever attain because my natural big hips and big titties will never shrink down to her no titties, no ass. And so when I don't watch her Instagram because I refuse to be influenced by girls' natural predispositions as a shameful as a relation to mine. I love my body. I love my body. And sometimes I wish I had no titties. Because I kind of have like a gender expression, but I don't, and I never will unless I get rid of my boobs, okay? Or I bind. But the point is that I know not to look at her Instagram, not because she's a bad person for existing in the body that nature gave her, but because I know that somehow in my brain, the intrusive thoughts are, we could be this skinny, even though I know I could not be that skinny because that's not who I am, okay? The idea is like, I don't have to blame this woman for existing in her body because of the way my brain listens to the thoughts. Because I don't think I'm my brain. I don't think I'm my thoughts. I don't think any of us are our thoughts. I think thoughts come and go, but you know, you are more than your thoughts. You are more than your actions. You exist outside of these things. So again, I'm saying, hey, you know, let's have these conversations in a way that doesn't attack people for existing in flesh suits that they're trapped in.
Outside of what's going on with her body and her health. I'm not referring to any of the controversies that she's been in, to be clear. But the people snarking on her for, you know, what she looks like and what she might be struggling with are going to turn around and complain that they were never a part of that and that they themselves were never complicit in it because nobody can ever take accountability for their own actions. Wanting a pop star to die, commenting on the fact that she looks like she's dying, and then turning around to discuss who's going to play her.
Chelsea Fagan literally said, like, some people are going to have to start dying before you guys wake up. You are basically manifesting Ariana's death. I am manifesting a long life. May Ariana live 80 years, a great life. But when Chelsea Fagan gets up here and goes, people are going to have to start dying before you care. You're basically saying, I hope Ariana Grande dies. That's fucked up.
The post-mortem biopic is the philosophy of a sheltered person.
Yeah, that's really fucked up. To say, ooh, who should play Ariana in a movie when she dies is disgusting.
Turning around to discuss who's going to play her in the post-mortem biopic is the philosophy of a sheltered person who spends too much time online and who is...
No, because exactly, that's the problem. It's not just chronically online girlies who are sheltered. Because what is Chelsea Fagan then? What is Chelsea Fagan? A well-traveled, speaks multiple language, educated woman who got on the internet and basically said the same thing. So no, it's not just chronically online girlies. It's also people who exist. It's your mothers, it's your aunties, it's people when you come home and you hear people talking. It's the men in your neighborhood who say like, oh, what kind of women they like. You know what I mean? It's so much more.
Never had a friend or a family member deal with something hard and something real. And I think that's what this comes down to at the end of the day, if you remove the whole social influence piece of Ariana Grande's story. People don't know how to deal with things that are hard and things that are real. And the antidote to that is basic human empathy. Cruelty.
Yeah, and Chad said, I also don't think people realize you can dislike things about your body because of the issues you face with it and the problems that come with chronic illnesses and disabilities. And you not only can dislike certain things about your body, but you can also dislike certain things about your body and want to change them without it having to be about people. That's the other problem is like I have deconstructed enough to know that if I ever got plastic surgery or if I do dye my hair a certain way or if I buy certain clothes, it's for me versus other people. Chelsea's not there yet. Chelsea Fagan literally said, there's no such thing as doing things for yourself because you're doing it for other people. And I said, that's a you thing. I don't agree with that. That's like men saying women only wear makeup for men. No. Some of us are doing it for us. Some of you are doing it for men. That's why I say de-center men, de-center thinness, de-center patriarchy, de-center whiteness. Some of you are doing that for men. Some of us have done it for men. Some of us are doing it for us now. Some of us have done the work. And I'm saying you can do the work, girls. You can do it for you. And until you get there, you will never believe other people are doing it for other people because you wake up every day just wondering how other people see you, view you, like you, validate you. And I'm saying, Jesus Christ, we cannot live this way forever and then wonder how the world is the way that it is. All of us need to start living for our values, our community values. Like, we need to stop centering these men and whether or not they think we're pretty or these girls, whether or not they think we're cool. Like, come on now.
It does not have to be part of the philosophy of holding somebody accountable. You don't have to be mean to get your point across. But if you do feel that way, stand by it. Say that shit with your chest. Thank you so much, you guys. Reminder, I have a reading channel and over...
Okay, great video. Let's see the comments. Never in my life have I witnessed so many people talking about something that nobody is talking about. Thank you. Thank you. Ariana Grande and the conversation we can have. It's like, really, bro? There were so many videos like, no one's allowing us to talk. Oh, Ariana is shrinking and everyone's pretending that it's not happening. What is this video? Everyone's pretending it's normal. Ariana is shrinking. Get the fuck off my recommended. What are you talking about? No one wants to have the conversation. Are we not having it because you're having it? I'm so annoyed with people for pretending that they're suffering. This is so like, oh my God, I'm being abused. And you're literally hitting your own fucking head. Stop it. Oh my God. Oh, no one's letting me do what I want. Stupid. It's so stupid, you know? Just says, how do we build community without centering others? And then how do we center people without losing ourselves by lifting others, if that makes sense? You center values. You center the dignity of people. You come together to uplift everybody. And you do it within reason. So we can't do it with 8 billion people. That's crazy. We can only do it in pockets, and those pockets all take care of each other. And you do it by being supportive and open and available. You let people come to you at their pace. I always tell my friends and family, hey, I love you. If you ever need anything, let me know. And I say it a lot and I say it often. And that allows them to know when they're instead of, hey, can you tell me about this? Like Sometimes I will bring it up and say, hey, we need to do sort of an intervention. I need to talk to you about something. It's serious. And sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I'll say, hey, I need to talk to you about something serious. When you're ready, get back to me. And I'll wait 6 months to hear back from somebody, but eventually they'll get back to me. Yeah, it's about being available, about listening, about actually caring about the person, like loving this person enough to also see what this person needs. The thing is, we don't know Ariana, so we don't know what she needs. That's why it's inappropriate. You don't know her. You can't give her what she needs. That's for people in her life. If she dies early, that was her story and it's none of your fucking business. You act like you're her family. You act like her mother or her family or her siblings. You act like, you know what I'm saying? How obnoxious of you to think you love her as much as her family members and her friends. Like, how obnoxious of the internet to think that you love strangers. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying this is not the way you go about. Like, this is not how you use wisdom to care for people. You can be sad about it. You can mourn about it. You can feel devastated about a stranger dying. I've definitely cried for strangers that have died. But I would never put myself in the place of their family members and say, they didn't love you the way I loved you. Girl. You know what I mean? That is so inappropriate. Cry because you feel impacted, but don't pretend like you know this person. You know, cry because it's sad, but don't act like you're the one person who's going to save Ariana. Like Ariana's going to watch my video and it's going to save her. If you cared about people, start working with movements, start working with psychologists, start working with nonprofits. If you really care about girls suffering from eating disorders, start learning. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, the way people have these conversations. So yeah, it's a balance. This is why we do introspection, our relationship with self, and extrospection, our relationship with everything outside of ourself. And then we find a balance between us as the individual and us as a community member. So, you know, if we have people in our lives that are suffering from eating disorders or addiction or anything else, which I'm sure we all do, okay, I have lots of people in my life, we are available, we have boundaries, and we're constantly renegotiating those boundaries and availability. And then we hope for the best. People will die. They will die early. They will die when we're not ready. So many parents have walked into their child's room to find them dead from hanging, shotgun, pills. You must be ready for people to die because it could happen tomorrow, could happen today. The point is, though, you cannot turn around and make it about you, even though it's going to be partially about you, in the sense that you love this person and you're connected to them. But we should honor the dead by recognizing how much they were suffering while they were alive. And while recognizing that they were suffering so much, they left early. And we should ask ourselves, what makes people take their lives? What makes people so depressed that they self-medicate? What makes the world such a horrible place that 100 plus Sudanese women suicided instead of being captured and raped by a group of men? That happened a couple years ago. We're literally living as animals on the planet full of 8 billion people, and we are suffering so immensely. The world is a suffering place, and your sole focus is one single person who obviously has the means and a community to focus all of your energy and time and your brand and on this one person who in every way needs help and in no way needs your help. So many people are screaming. So many women are screaming for help. They're begging you for attention, and you're giving one person the attention, and you're not even giving resources at the end. You're not even talking about communities. You're not even giving a hopeful message at the end that you are more than your body and more than your illness or sickness. You are so much more than this, and you are loved, and it is unconditional, and you do not have to be healthy for me to love you. My love is not conditional. It's unconditional. I love you no matter how sick you get. No matter the destruction you cause, I love you. And still we are open with boundaries. The thing is, though, we live in a society where love is conditional. And a lot of people grow up in households that tell you you're unlovable unless you're skinny. And so the irony is, okay, Ariana feels loved because she's skinny. Maybe. These people go on the internet and talk about how much they don't love Ariana because she's skinny. It's very confusing. Would you love her if she was fat? Would you love her if she was dead? Would you decide she was, what would you say after she died? I told you so? Would you say, oh my gosh, if only Ariana had the help? Well, how are you helping then? My love is unconditional. My support is unconditional, but I'm still open with boundaries. Maybe I'm not the best person to help you. Maybe somebody else is, but I don't want to live in a world where we're abandoning Ariana because she has an eating disorder, or we're banning anybody because they're sick or addicted. That's why a lot of unhoused people, especially from a conservative perspective, are seen as not helpable and not worth it because they think they're addicts. Oh, they're addicts. Who needs to help them? Oh, they're homeless for a reason. They chose it. And I'm saying every person deserves housing. All people deserve food and water. And it doesn't matter if you're addicted. You deserve to be dignified. So don't fall for these conservative dog whistles and these traps, because that's what I'm hearing from a lot of these people, is you're treating Ariana the way conservatives treat everybody else. Don't do that. It's so unnecessary. Chet says, I'm a therapist and unconditional love is the path of healing. Love that. I love that. Yeah. Chet says, period, we do not need to abandon our people. I can't even, it's giving me a headache just thinking about, thinking about that. It's just like, damn, bro. I can't believe the message that we've been sending with these videos, you know? Chat said, I saw a video recently talking about the standard of white women skinny versus is scary, mostly talking about the early 2000s. Oh, yeah, black skinny versus white skinny. Oh, yeah. Black fat versus white fat. Guys, don't you know that's that? Okay, do you know the pipeline? We got to close up shop. But do you understand the pipeline between fat white women who black men date and skinny white women who black men date and white girls who only date white guys, but they all have to be thin, white men who say if my women have pregnancies and they don't go back to their original weight, they'll divorce them. Do you know there were white men. My friend dated this white guy who, or maybe it was his brother, either way, she knew these white guys who literally said that if my wife doesn't go back to her original body weight after babies, they're going to get divorced. White supremacy, capitalism, patriarchy. I'm telling you right now, we have to, this is why I say your feminism is still in infancy. If it's not intersectional, it's not collaborating with womanism, and it isn't focusing on a global experience of being a woman. A global experience of being a woman. That's why I see Ariana and I just see patriarchy. I go, yeah. Now, Chelsea Fagan started to say this. Chelsea Fagan was like, patriarchy is forcing us to be skinny. Okay, well then attack patriarchy. Go call out patriarchy. Are you attacking the victim of patriarchy? Why are you saying Ariana Grande has an eating disorder because of patriarchy, and then you're blaming Ariana for being a victim of patriarchy? Now, I understand. This is why when I cover conservative women, I always try to be empathetic because they are also victims of patriarchy. And I always tell them, girlies, this isn't going to help you. These women don't deserve to have their vote taken away, right? Don't throw all of these people, because you have to understand, like, a lot of this is all of our family members, all of our friends. Like, as somebody who has family members who are immigrants, who voted for Trump, who do all these things, like, I don't think anyone's family is without these problems. And I'm saying if they're not without these problems, that means we don't get to even say, most of us don't even have the privilege of saying, oh, thank goodness my parents are liberal, or thank goodness my parents aren't fatphobic, or thank goodness my parents aren't racist. Like, thank goodness my parents aren't transphobic. Like, wow, what a fucking privilege, you know? No, most of us grow up in households where our parents call us fat and then tell us we're not eating enough. Where our parents, like, guys, I can't even tell you how many of my siblings were fat shamed when they were younger. And if you go back and look at those photos, they are literally so skinny. They are literally so skinny. I want to scream at my parents forever, ever, ever. And you know what's even worse? They trained us to see them as fat. And so we as siblings would be like, oh, man. And you go back and look at those photos and these kids are skinny. They're so skinny. It's just devastating. It's so devastating. Chat says, what do you feel about the people that have triggered their EDs after seeing Ari? Genuine question. I mean, I'm devastated for them that they're suffering. Maybe I don't understand the question. What do you think about the people that have triggered their EDs after seeing, that have triggered their EDs? Like they see Ariana and then they form an eating disorder. I mean, that's devastating, right? I'm not sure what you're asking, right? I'm sad for them? Why do I feel like that's not the question? I feel like you're leading me into like blaming Ariana for it or something. I mean, I'm sad for them, but if it wasn't Ari, it was going to be somebody else. It would have been their mother, or looking in the mirror, or any of the hundreds of thousands of different displays of women in media. You know what I mean? I just think Ari maybe broke the camel's back. But I don't think people see Ariana who have never thought about their body before and they're like, must be skinny. You know what I mean? I don't think that happens. You know? And even if it did, like, again, like, is Ariana never supposed to be seen in public? Because the insinuation of this is if they see Ari, they'll have an eating disorder. So the only solution is to hide Ari away so nobody sees her? Should Ari just wear really big clothes so nobody can tell how skinny she is underneath it? Should she wear a fat suit? You know, like what are the like? There's a lot of questions that follow. You know, right? Yeah, I don't know what to do with that. Wait, chat said something I wanted to read out loud. How I feel watching old movies with fat characters and quotations. Exactly. Yeah. Chat says, do we expect her to say, oh my gosh, y'all are so right. Let me go eat 55 burgers and 55 fries. Oh, you want to hear something I used to do? Guys, this was bad. Are you ready? Trigger warning. When I was deconstructing my fat phobia, so I was, this was 2014-ish, 2015 probably. I'm deconstructing my fat phobia, and my stupid brain goes, it overcorrects. So in order to defend fat people, I would say on videos to really skinny people, eat a hamburger. I'm so ashamed. I want to cry. I'm so sorry. Ugh. Oh, why do we... Ugh. You know what I mean? There was all of this like, eat a hamburger, you're so skinny, eat a burger. Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. You know what I mean? And same thing, like, and I know people still do it today. And yeah, the internet went through a phase, but Jesus Christ, that was not helpful. You know what I mean? And so I can't believe Chelsea's doing it in 2026. That's what I think Chelsea's doing in different words in 2026. Instead of saying eat a hamburger, she's saying you owe it to your fans not to be seen in public because you're so skinny. Oh, you know? Yeah. Oh, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. That's what I'm saying, guys. We're constantly unlearning. So here I was unlearning fat phobia just to engage in more bullshit. That's why I say it's none of my business what you look like. None of my business. If you need help, let me know. None of my business. This is why I say it, because, you know, the road to hell is paved in good intentions. And I just think so many people have so many good intentions with these videos, and that's the problem. Do less bad every day. Stop trying to do more good. You know? That's it. That's all we can do. Anyways, okay, girls, we did it. Thank you for being here. Great stream today. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys learned something. I hope we can all walk away realizing that we should want better. And look, listen, the last thing I want to do is come off like a woman who's trying to pick fights with other girls. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just so passionate about this because I've made so many mistakes myself. And it just sucks to see a woman that I want to love and support and get behind just go down a path that makes me feel so like, oh no, somebody do something. And like, look, I can't. I'm not beholden to the attachment. Maybe I'm doing a little bit of a Chelsea Fagan on Chelsea Fagan. Like, she's like, Ari, stop. And I'm like, Chelsea, stop. And we're all yelling at each other, stop, you know? But damn, my only hope is that we can grow from these conversations and just, you know, help each other get on a better path without making people feel like they're less. You are not less. You're just a bit misguided, I think, you know? But I don't know what to do, except I can't pull my punches because, you know, Chelsea's on the left. That's what I keep hearing. Like, Brittany, she's a woman on the left. Why are you criticizing her? I'm criticizing her philosophy, her ideas. I don't think they're good. I think they cause more harm than they do good. You know, that sucks. Anyways, hopefully we never have to talk about Ariana's body again because I really don't like doing it. Thank you. Okay. Thanks for being here, guys. See you tomorrow. Bye.